I, did you all like that intro video? Let me link to the pre-show list in the chat. I'm sorry. That if you missed the pre-show video, I didn't do a lot of, I went through it a little bit. I didn't realize that the pre-show video was just going to be instructions on how to kill a man. I thought it was going to be about garnishing with vegetables, but I was wrong. I was so wrong. Oh man. Hi, chat. Just, who would know that how to garnish would be? Oh god, thank you. I did her. It's Soldier 22-month resub. Thank you so much. Oh man. Hey folks, I'm back. I was gone last week because I had to get my cat to get fixed. It turned out she was already fixed, but they still charged. But no, she's good. Oh, she left. Yeah, she was earlier she was yelling at me to hang out with her, and now she's like, well, I'm gone. Oh boy. All right, folks, let's get started with Interactive Entertainment 19. That we've only got 23 issues, so we're nearing the end, unfortunately. We're going to finish it this year. After that, I think I'm going to go to other cover discs and stuff like that. But before we do that, you know what time it is, baby. Oh yeah. Time for some bleak soup. It is not green, but it might be putrid. Folks, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm going back to the bum energy well because they have something called Dr. Bum. Dr. Bum. That's the only doctor my insurance will cover. Okay, let's the ingredients, like I think I said this last time I had a bum energy drink. It contains something called cognizin citicoline, which is a copyright of Kyowa Hakko Bio Corporation. So you know it's good when it's got cognizin anyways, let's try it. I love the garbage that they throw in these, like the proprietary blends. Also, I've never had... Oh, there we go. I like that the soda noise came through my mouth. I've never had... I've had a couple okay diet Dr. Peppers before. I don't know if this is going to be good. Yeah, Dr. Bum, absolutely a cousin of Dr. Dick. Let's go. I don't want to do this. It's got 5 calories. Literally, the only thing it has in it is 5 calories, 30 milligrams of sodium, and 1 carbohydrate. It's the nothing soda. All right, let's go. Chat. I need to talk to all the 80s and 90s kids. Do you remember those little balls filled with liquid that they're like soap balls and you would put it in your bathtub? Does anybody remember those? Because that's exactly what this tastes like, that smell. It tastes 100% like the smell of grandma's bathroom. It tastes like grandma's bathroom. I don't know how else to put it. It's fascinating. What did you do, bum? Hold on. We got some Dr. Bum copy here that I didn't read. Wake up early and chase greatness. Dream so big it scares you. The journey is greater than the reward. Expect less and hope more. You'll be happier. Take risks. The stories will be worth it. Love your mom so much you tattoo it on your arm. Life can be tough. Take it one day at a time. Don't be a bum. Drink bum energy. This is dog. This is yeah. Okay. I've never had Orbits. I wish I had Orbits when I could. All right. One last taste. It says contains no fruit juice, and I hope not. I don't know what fruit tastes like soap, but it's a little soap tasting. Now, it's not the most soap tasting thing I've had in a while, but it's. And on that note, you know what time it is. Xena's here. It's the start of the month. It's time for the next episode of Interactive Entertainment.
Don't touch that dial. You're watching episode 19 of Interactive Entertainment. This time around, join us for a look at Daggerfall, Bethesda Software's sequel to its highly popular The Elder Scrolls Arena. Bethesda says the game will have some 4,000 dungeon areas to wander around in. We promise that our preview won't be quite as large. Many a computer owner got hooked on games back in the early 80s with Infocom's Zork series of fantasy text adventures. Text games have gone the way of the Commodore 64, but Zork is still around.
Zork is still around.
Lots of pretty pictures to the adventure in its upcoming Zork Nemesis. Accolade discovered that arcade-style action and resource management can combine to produce a wildly popular game in Star Control 2.
Okay.
Find out whether you'll be seeing more of that same type of design in our preview of Star Control 3. And continuing our sequel theme, the folks at Papyrus made a bold leap in graphics.
Chat, did Star Control 3 come out?
NASCAR racing. Now they're taking all that technology and putting it to good use on IndyCar racing too. All this
yes,
and a lot
okay.
more on episode 19 of IE.
Yes, but it was bad. First of all, sick. Sick, I already love this. And second of all, they got an ad from Blizzard. Let's click on it. Okay, let's learn about Warcraft 2. Show art.
Warcraft.
Yeah. Warcraft. Okay, that's fine. No worries. I don't need to know. Let's go back to the main menu. Let's look at Pax Imperia. Okay. Always good. Always a good start to the show when the audio doesn't work.
Shattered Nation.
What about Diablo? Yeah, cool art.
Diablo is a new role-playing adventure with a dark, gothic setting. Players descend into a sinister underworld filled with mysterious quests,
nipples,
deadly traps, and a terrifying story.
They're a little too centered, though. They look like eyeballs.
And demonic creatures. A rich, three-dimensional world has been created for the player to navigate through.
Okay.
Detailed settings bring the characters and their world to life as the game progresses. The desecrated temple that lies at the outskirts of the village is your gateway into the world of Diablo. The eerie glow that emanates from its abandoned halls invites you into an adventure from which you may never return. A huge subterranean labyrinth awaits. From skeletal warriors to powerful demons of the night, this place is filled with dangerous creatures that have just one purpose: to feast on your living soul.
Man,
if
not
you
my
live
soul.
Long enough, you may discover what unholy abominations killed your family.
You may discover.
Then the test will truly begin.
Diablo. Okay. How do I order? Diablo.
Diablo, a new role-playing game in which players descend into a sinister underworld filled with supernatural forces and demonic creatures. Integrating intense gameplay with state-of-the-art graphics will place this title in a class of its own. Diablo will be released in Windows 95 CD-ROM format. Available by spring 1996 at most computer and software retail chains nationwide for approximately $50.
Okay.
For more information on Diablo, or to order your own copy directly from Blizzard, please call 1-800-953-SNOW.
953 snow, huh? All right, let's take a look at the featured articles. Ooh, Daggerfall. I really like this art. They really upped the art here.
Have you ever run into that awkward equation in computer games where in
No.
order to get great graphics, gameplay has to somehow suffer or vice versa? Well, Bethesda Software is about
Yeah, I was
to
gonna
prove that
sound
you
like
can
it sounds
have
like
your cake and
the
eat it
cocaine
too.
delivery
The
service.
sequel to the
Yeah.
highly acclaimed RPG, The Elder Scrolls Arena, is called Daggerfall, and from all reports, it's the most intricately designed fantasy role-playing game the market has ever seen. As the
Hooray!
game begins, the player is summoned by the Emperor to perform a special mission.
I
Royal
forgot
Court of
Daggerfall had
is experiencing
FMV.
great
That's so
turmoil,
good.
And if it's in your power, you are requested to help stop a potential uprising. Make no mistake, this is the main adventure of the game, but you still do not have to say yes. If you'd rather, you can just explore the enormous terrain, talk to the folks you meet, and back away at monsters to your heart's content.
Cool.
There are over 4,000 dungeon areas to delve into. You can import your favorite arena characters into Daggerfall, but you'll definitely want to try out the new game's character construction system. Instead of rolling virtual dice, you answer a series of questions about the sort of character you want, in effect, discussing your idea with the computer, and the program will generate your character from the answers you give. Daggerfall also uses a GURP-style disadvantage system. You get enhanced attributes by taking on disadvantages like nearsightedness, or an obnoxious personality, or having no legs.
I have
Admittedly,
both
wheelchair
nearsightedness
technology is
and an
not very
obnoxious
advanced in the kingdom of
personality.
Daggerfall, but the choice is there. Many supposedly throwaway
Good
aspects of
faces.
character creation suddenly become meaningful in Daggerfall.
Great
Before
faces.
this, no one has really given much thought to the issue of language in a computer RPG. In Daggerfall, there is a common language that can be used, but it may be a better choice to use the local lingo and get on the native's good side. Of course, there's always the possibility of misphrasing your sentences and getting into deep trouble, or at the very least, coming across like a moron. And then there's the matter of clothing. Yes, your character's choice of outfit will affect reactions, and this is reflected in the game.
Cool.
The dialogue system in Daggerfall is not just a series of expanding
Oh, Sig, there's a
menus and
Unity
sentences to
port with
choose.
mods?
While
Nice.
that aspect does exist, the player can also choose their general attitude towards someone from the beginning. You can even pick a desired outcome from a conversation and let the computer choose the sentences that will take you there. Character relations continue to have deep and lasting effects long after an encounter ends. If you treat your underlings well, the word will get around, and you'll gain a modicum of respect before people even meet you. Of course, being too nice might make troublemakers think you can be pushed around. And the reverse is
I want to
also
be,
true.
oh, we're
Being
boar.
overbearing
Nice.
and
I was going to
threatening your
hope
staff
that I
may
could be a
keep
boar.
potential assailants away,
You
but
missed
everyone
the
else will avoid
pre-show
you too.
video
There's
where
even a possibility
it was
of talking
ostensibly
to a
about
group of
how to
orcs in a
garnish, but the
dungeon
guy
rather
kept
than just
talking about,
hacking away
like,
on site. If the conversation
human
goes
arms
well,
and stuff. It
you'll
was very
improve relations with
strange,
orcs
very
from then
evil.
on.
I liked
But
it.
ultimately,
Let me
you're
link to that in
going
the
to have
chat
to
again.
fight something, and there's no lack of truly vicious and dangerous adversaries to hack into.
Yeah,
There's
check out
also
how
an
to
online
garnish.
bestiary that lets the player find out what he's dealing with when face to face with a new foe. There are many new monsters in Daggerfall, as well as new weapons and spells. The Spellmaker utility has also been upgraded, allowing for all kinds of eldritch possibilities. The world of Daggerfall, as mentioned before, is really huge. Whether or not you choose the Emperor's Quest, you will explore beautifully designed caves, castles, dwellings, highlands, and lowlands. To accomplish some tasks, you may even have to travel underwater. This is not
No.
recommended if you don't have much magic backing you up.
Can you eat
All
the
of
fish in
navigation is
Daggerfall?
accomplished
I'm
through a
sorry.
powerful 3D
I'm sorry
engine
that,
can
like,
operate in
anytime I
either
look at
VGA
things, I
or
talk about eating
SVGA,
them.
depending
I
on
watched a
your
really
system's
good
power.
documentary
Not
about
everything in
plants,
Daggerfall
and
is intended for
I just
all
wanted to eat all the
ages. Rather than create a
plants.
game with a young audience in mind, the
It was with the
designers opted to implement a
paleobotanist,
lockout
and it was
feature
really
called Child
good,
Guard.
and the plants
This
looked
password
delicious.
program lets parents control how much violence, language, and sexual content little Bobby is exposed to. But whatever your age, if you're a role-playing enthusiast, Daggerfall is bound to be a must-have when it hits the shelves this Christmas. If you're not a role-playing enthusiast, this could be the game that turns you into one.
These ladies didn't have a lot of clothing on. All right, next in the featured articles, we got Zork Nemesis.
Would there be an adventure game market today without Infocom?
Yeah, yeah, that was
This
what I remember
groundbreaking
most from
set of
Catholic
fantasy
school was the
text
nude
adventures
women
from the early
dancing in the
80s
corners.
was updated 2 years ago into
You'd
a
think that
graphics
would
and
have brought
texture
in the
game
chur-
called
the
Return to Zork by Activision.
the church,
Since
but
then, the
no.
original Zorks have been exhumed and put onto several CD compilations. The Zork universe is a hot topic on the Usenet channel, so the time is more
Ooh, the
than
hot
right
topic
for
on the
Activision
Usenet
to release
channel.
A new chapter in the saga, Zork Nemesis, a return to the
They're
exploratory
called
spirit of the
nuts.
original games. Surprise, surprise, trouble is brewing in the Zork universe. A large tract of territory has become known as the Forbidden Lands because no one has been able to enter or leave them. The source of this curse makes its home in a decayed and rotting temple on a desolate mountain peak, and it goes by the name of Nemesis, a fearsome creature who doesn't just kill people, it traps their souls for eternity. The player begins the adventure just outside the dreaded Forbidden Lands and must wander and explore, making his way to the temple.
Chat, did I tell you about the THC infused communion wafers?
They were all murdered by the Nemesis, who is now tracking down the player. The player leaves, but in order to completely stop the Nemesis, he will have to uncover the mystery of the Forbidden Lands. Much of the enigma is hidden in the rituals of alchemy. This is not just Alchemy is a combination of science, magic, religion, and philosophy, which revolves around the principle that all matters.
I would just, let me
the essences of things and track down the ultimate equations and truths. This, of course, leads to some unusual puzzle design.
Let me get that link in the chat.
Nemesis will feature spectacular graphics.
Yeah, it's called Mamma Mia Roma. Here, let me put the link in the chat.
Beautifully rendered 3D locations. In your travels to discover the secrets of the Forbidden Lands, you'll travel to an insane asylum on a glacier, a castle in the middle of a desert, a monastery on the side of a volcano, and a conservatory under a dam surrounded on all sides by water. The locations are fully navigable with a
There we go. Enjoy, chat.
As you explore the former homes of the murdered alchemists, you will occasionally encounter an
They're
area
vegan.
charged with psychic residue. This will trigger a flashback of an important event that happened on that spot. These hallucinatory episodes are critical to unraveling the mystery. There are certainly enough fans of the Zork series to justify another chapter in the series, even if it were completely obscure to the uninitiated. But one of the strengths these games have always had is that the stories are all separate and distinct.
I mean, you could always make communion wafers with beef tallow if you wanted, to be in the pocket of Big Heart Attack.
This atmospheric adventure will hit the shelves in the spring of '96.
Okay. Sorry that I got distracted with the communion wafers. I literally talking about the dancing nuns just reminded me of that. Yeah, technically no. If the communion wafers have been consecrated, they are not technically vegan. Now, if they aren't consecrated, they are vegan. So just some food for thought. Let's look at Star Control 3.
There are few games that have managed to blend more than one genre with better results than Star Control 2 from Accolade. It took the intense arcade-style space combat of its predecessor and added a healthy dose of exploration, mining, shipbuilding, and interaction with other races. This January, we will once again be permitted to visit
Sucks that this game wasn't good.
Science fiction universe with the next game in the series entitled, aptly enough, Star Control 3. One of the things Star Control 2 handled well was management. You had to mine minerals, which you could trade to
I heard that Star Control fans are not big fans of this.
Star Control 3 will incorporate management, albeit in a slightly different way. You'll have to build and maintain colonies, which in turn can build ships and new technologies to improve them.
Cool.
As in the prequel, Star Control 3 features an overall storyline. It introduces additional races, each of which has an associated plot development. However, the story will be less linear than in the previous game. Trigger events are designed more independently, so you can accomplish tasks in whatever order you choose. The game also emphasizes diplomacy. The survivors of the war with the Urquan hierarchy have formed a league of sentient races, which has dispatched you to the distant Kasari Quadrant to investigate a disturbance there. One of the keys to winning the game will be successful negotiation with other races. You must decide which races are fit to be members of the league, and which should be given the boot. The racial interaction screens are new.
All right, I just looked. Oh my god, I do like the puppets.
With the high degree of control possible using a computer, the puppets were filmed performing many short animations rather than a single long one.
Oh, Chad, I didn't mention it, but the other day when I was in downtown Austin going to there's an art museum that was free, and I got a pin, and the pin fell off, and I'm so sad. It was a pin of the Gay Devil from Washer Lobat's channel, and it fell off, and now it's in the middle of the Lavaca Street, apparently. That's so sad. Rip my pin. Luckily, I have another one, so I'm good.
Displayed in SVGA with smooth scaling and zooming. Best of all,
but I was like, yeah, the pin is now property of the streets of downtown Austin,
which keeps your view locked on your foe independent of your movement. Like many sequels to especially
Yeah, gay little dude is out there. Luckily, I have an extra one. Yeah, someone else might get the gay little dude pin, and it might make their day. Yeah, I hope that someone gay found it, and that they're like, oh my god, this is so great. All right, fair enough. I guess it's time.
Major hit potential.
Hi, everybody! It's the Jester, and we are going through featured articles here. What else we got? We got IndyCar Racing 2. Fiddle-dee-doo, it's Racing 2. No audio. We don't need it. No audio necessary for Windy. Chat, wake up early and chase greatness. A dream so big it scares you. I did have a dream the other night that I got shot, but it was a different dream where it wasn't the dream where I just keep having dreams where I die or get shot or blow up a microwave.
Around a track can be. I know that when I see auto racing on television, I usually look for the remote control to change the channel ASAP.
Oh, no, there was no stream last week. I was busy taking the kitty cat to the vet.
But there's a big difference.
She is now all fixed up.
Papyrus really brings that through in their games. In fact, I think that these racing sims are among the most intense video gaming available on today's PC.
Ooh, the most intense video gaming. Fiddle-dee-do, why, hello. Bella is doing fantastically, and no, previous owners have not contacted us at all in the least if they had our info, so looking like she's ours. It's been about a week since I contacted them, so we'll see. But yeah, she's very much our kitty cat. Surface Kane, thank you so much for the 100 bits. I had a dream the other night that I lived in a big old house, but there was an entire 80s era Kmart in the attic, slowly breaking through the floor, threatening to destroy the entire house. That sounds amazing.
Papyrus do better than anyone else. They were somehow able to give the true feeling of racing the car through the visual and audio signals of the PC. You know when your back tires are slipping a little. You know when you're pushing your car too hard, and you can just feel the car.
Can you push it from behind the car? That would be pretty cool.
They respond very much like human drivers. They back off when they need to, and they take curves in individual strategic ways. And taking a pit stop is handled like it has
strategic curve, you say?
The player can pause the game and set instructions for the crew. Then the game can be restarted, and the pit crew will follow those instructions whenever the driver pits. Modifying the car is one of the premier features that true IndyCar enthusiasts are going to love. Each track is different, and your car needs to be adjusted specifically for each track to get the best performance. The garage is where you take your car to make all necessary refinements, like the angle of the front and rear wings, bias adjustments, gear ratios, tire pressure, shock tension, and virtually everything else. And those changes can really be felt when you take your car out onto the track. If you take some air out of your right front tire, you'll be able to notice the effect that it has on your car's performance.
Left bias, rear bias. I have a rear bias. That's why I'm drinking bum soda.
A ton of camera views will be available, and you've got to have the replay feature so you can watch your finest performances and most furious.
That's how I drive. I just spin around in a circle and blow smoke everywhere.
IndyCar in virtually any way you want. And the looks of the cars and the entire
and then I drive backwards.
Awesome, with the ability to run an SVGA for those machines that can handle it. If you loved NASCAR racing, IndyCar Racing 2 is shaping up to be all that was and more. And if you own NASCAR already, don't discount IndyCar Racing because these machines are
I won't discount IndyCar Racing.
Faster and handle better than anything out on the tracks today. So get ready to go really, really fast when IndyCar Racing is released sometime in November.
All right, IndyCar Racing looks like a game. Folks, you know what time it is. Letters to the editor. All right. Real quick here. We've got... I do not like that term. I'll use the term screwed because it's funnier. Screwed on a demo. Complaint! I just picked up a copy of Interactive Entertainment issue 69. I would like to form a complaint. According to the cover, it has a Tech War preview along with some things also. I had been trying to get a playable demo for this game for some time now, so I checked the back. In bold letters, it said... there we go. Demos, Druid, Police Quest, a Tech War. Now, when you claim that there's a demo of a game on a CD, it should actually be a demo and not an AVI file. To me, that constitutes a preview, not a demo. To really top it off, it is a bad AVI file to use as a preview. It is simply an intro screen for the game. And to top it off, since this is considered a magazine, I cannot take it back, making me stuck with a $10 CD that failed to provide me with the one feature which I bought it for in the first place. Mickey Mouse. For what it's worth, I happen to agree with you. A demo, to me, means something you can play. Unfortunately, we are a magazine with deadlines and all kinds of good stuff like that. In this particular case, the folks at Capstone were not able to get us a demo in time for us to ship the disc. As I've said on prior occasions, our demos have traditionally been sold as ad space. That means if someone wants to buy space on our disc and run a bunch of screenshots for their game, we pretty much let them. That is no more. In order to get more and better demos at consistent request from you folks, we will be running them as editorial. Basically, each writer will round up 2 or 3 demos that he thinks is cool and pass them along. This also resolves our issue with shareware. Expect to see more of it in the future. On one further rumor, I can't officially confirm that IE will go to 2 discs anytime soon, but I know that A, there have been much discussion on such a change, and B, our new packaging, you know, that thing sitting on the desk right next to you, gives us the capacity to do so without making major changes. Keep your eyes peeled. As for your particular case, I apologize. None of this does anything to help you in particular. I can tell you that we did finally run a playable Tech War demo in episode 17. Please give our tech support a call at 802 blah 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 blah, and they may be able to exchange the disc for you. TK. Someone really, really, really wanted Tech War. And PC2 requirements, and thank you, Vagrant Wastrel, for the 22-month resub. I think may have inadvertently dodged a bullet. Do you think stands for Mickey Mouse? That's how I feel. Dear editor, mega dittos, I loved your magazine. I just received episode 17 of IE, and I am looking forward to an in-depth review of Wing Commander 4, hint hint. Anyway, in episode 17 you mentioned that you record video at 150 kilobytes a second. I think that when you get your website up, hint hint, you should put on the survey of what kind of peripherals people have for their computers. They are computers. I think that you will find anyone who can afford to spend at least $10 a month or $80 a year on this magazine has probably already taken a plunge to have at least a double spin CD-ROM drive and have the MPC2 requirements. I hope that with your apparent desire to utilize new and exciting technology, you will take advantage of this new MPC2 standard. I realize that your biggest fear is alienating some of your readers because of pushing the technology envelope too far, and I certainly don't think MPC2 standards are too far. An enthusiastic reader, DM, Overland Park, Kansas. Dear DM, always happy to speak to an enthusiastic reader. I'm right there with you on the Wing 4 preview. We'll have to see what Origin wants to tell us about the game in the immediate future. As for NPC requirements, you must be psychic. Yes, we will soon have a website. See the so long and thanks for all the fish letter for more details. Yes, one of the reasons for having it will be to gather statistical data about our viewers in a more timely fashion than our business reply cards. And if we do find that most of our viewers are NBC2 compliant, we'll consider bumping our video to the neighborhood of 300k a second. However, there is another consideration. 300k a second takes up, surprise, twice the space of 150k a second. However, there's always a possibility of us going to 2 discs sometime down the road, which would give us the ability to offload demos and patches to a second disc, freeing up a lot of space for extra video. Cheers, TK. It's so sad that in like 5 issues they're going to be going down. Myriad musings. First off, let me thank and congratulate you for having one of the few worthwhile CD magazines on the market. Considering that it is a relatively new format, I'm very impressed with anyone was able to put together such an enjoyable magazine so early on. The mixture of humor and a serious approach to gaming really works, and while some of the jokes are a bit, corny, as long as they don't interfere with the review too much, they're fine by me. My girlfriend will frequently groan from across the room when I go through your mag. Is your girlfriend a viewer of Rescue Cat? Because I'm also doing that. As impressive as I find your mag, I'd like to offer some constructive criticism, if I may. You saw this coming, didn't you? First off, what's the deal with the patches not being included in the past couple of issues? I understand that you may run out of room every couple of months, but 3 in a row? This is one of the most valuable aspects of your mag, IMO. Saves me from having to hunt through FTP sites and downloading the wrong thing. I work in a software store, and we have a lot of customers come in with games that they have trouble running, which can often be fixed with a patch. If they don't have internet access, I frequently send them out to the store with your magazine. We often run it on our demo machine as well, and everybody seems to really enjoy it. The demo mode is a nice inclusion, but I wish there was a lockout feature for all the boneheads who enjoy exiting the magazine and going into File Manager and rearranging our files. Also, having recently upgraded to Windows 95, I have had a few problems running IE. Issue 16 would frequently crash or lock up my system, while all of them ask for present.exe to install. Any advice on getting this to run better under 95, or even better yet, will we see a native 95 version of IE anytime soon? The inclusion of console games has been a fine addition as well. Many serious gamers are cross-platform, and I enjoy hearing what is going on there as well. I hope to have a PlayStation soon. However, the current ratio is about right. Don't throw in too much on the console systems, especially if it means cutting out some of the PC stuff. It's a safe bet that anyone using a PC magazine probably plays PC games. True. The console gamers will only be a small percentage of your audience. Finally, I'd like to address some specific comments you made in issue 17 in your Ultimate Doom review. In a nutshell, you said, a great wad, but not really worth $40. I agree. However, registered users of Doom 1 are eligible to get the add-on for free. id Software has placed an upgrade from Doom 1 to Ultimate Doom on their FTP, I should say, for nothing. You could even include it right along in issue 18 if we ever get the patches section back. I suspect that id made the announcement after you went to press. I hope you make your Doom readers aware that they don't have to shell out $40 for this great episode. Thanks for letting me speak my mind. Keep up the great work. John Capriati. Thanks for the feedback. Patches, what can I say? We ran out of space. When we go over, patches are the first things to get the axe, although I agree that whacking them several months in a row was a bad idea. Why? Because we'd rather cut patches than editorial, and, until recently anyway, demos were paid for, so they couldn't be cut. Hopefully this will get better soon. Shall I throw in yet another plug for going 2 discs? Sure, why not? I mean, we could add another disc for $5, and we'd still be cheaper and more regular, must be all that brand, than the other CD-ROM magazines out there. Lockout on demo mode. I am running right this instant to suggest this to our programmers. We should have thought this ourselves. Windows 95. We're very much behind the adoption of Win 95, and we'll continue to work to make IE more compliant with it, and we'll have a native version as soon as the tools we use to create the mag are all native, which presently looks like when hell freezes over. But believe me, we're pushing for it all the time. Console systems, my feelings exactly, right down to the have a new PlayStation soon part. Ultimate Doom, at the time of that article, it somehow escaped our notice that id planned to make an upgrade available to registered Doom owners. Given id's nature, we should have known better. Sorry. Thank you for correcting our mistake. TK. Reese Davies didn't suck. Dear guys, you finally got the interview section right with, or because of, Reese Davies. Now we can all sleep at night. BJF, Aurora, Colorado. Is that really it? Oh, okay. Dear BJF, great. Unfortunately, our timing sucks as we probably won't be doing many more interviews. What? No! So it goes, and in the many reply cards we got back, we learned that not very many of you give a rat's ass about the interview, and we are ever obedient to our public. No! 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 Those are the... No! A viewer gushes without constraint. I had the pleasure of watching IE's exciting transformation from its primordial beginnings a year and a half ago into the polished product witnessed in current issues. It's clear that this magazine's creators are actively pursuing insightful improvements to the look and feel of IE while maintaining its roots and providing consistently accurate reviews and jaw-dropping, eye-popping, spine-tingling previews for its happy, salivating fans. You're obviously attuned to the interests and concerns of your viewers, and one cannot help but feel you're actually trying to produce a quality product and not just make a buck. But I'm sure it's just my imagination. I eagerly await each month's edition and quite honestly cannot see any reason not to subscribe to IE. You can pay me later. A couple of highlights. I've been thoroughly impressed with the improved video. The interview and company profiles are smooth and clearly audible. I especially enjoyed the interview with William Shatner on Tech Ward, Blizzard Entertainment's company profile. The increased number and quality of cutscenes and game videos are a welcomed addition to the already informative reviews and previews. The E3 coverage was great. I was impressed with the amount of materials on each company's upcoming developments. As always, editorials are humorously captivating and well written. Me not afraid of Throg, though. Lastly, I found the increased email and letters to the editor of episode 17 a surprisingly entertaining addition. After crawling back into my chair and wiping off the dog hair from rolling around on the carpet, gasping for breath and holding my gut, I thought I'd drop you a short note of encouragement to add to your pile. You seem to be getting a few mean and nasty ones. Keep up the good work and endearing cyberfan, J.A. You got it right, yay! Explanation: when we started doing IE, our primary goal is to make it fast, fun, and easy to use, and to provide great info. As a result, our interface and overall appearance were somewhat neglected. We try to hone the look and the thing over time, while keeping our warm, charming, and never biting or sarcastic review style. Apparently you think we've been successful, which makes us very, very happy. Hold on this. My freaking trackball's been acting up. Read your highlights. We have a full-time employee now whose job consists of 50% compressing video. So unlike when it was our original tech director I doing it part-time, our video is being done by someone with a clue. More video, that's all you rampaging cannibals want. More video, geesh. Maybe we should ship IE with a VHS tape, actually. Thanks, we busted our butts on E3 and it still wasn't quite as good as we wanted it to be. Just wait till next year. Editorials, you mean this letter column? Oh, thanks. By the way, you're only not afraid of Throg because you've never seen his bathroom. Does he shit on the walls? I don't mind nasty letters. They're often poorly thought out and thus poorly written and almost as much fun to tear into as a really bad game. Okay. All right, folks, give me one quick second. The gesture who is going to leave needs to ungestify. Give me about a minute. I'm normal now. Chat. Merits of OS2 rebutted. To the folks at IE, I don't want to turn your great gamesing into an operating system's holy war zone, but I do want to let you know that at least one of your subscribers is an avid Warp fan. In fact, I jumped on the letter that was written in episode 17, in which, in the hopes that someone was requesting a native 32-bit Warp version of your program, which, by the way, would be really cool. Even though I run your program seamlessly on my desktop, I am always looking for to throw some more dollars at companies that support my favorite PC operating system. Keep up the great work, AB, Springfield, Illinois, from Prodigy. Hey, Coffee Kindred, welcome. We are going through the letter section of issue 19, I should say, of Interactive Entertainment. Thanks for writing in. I try to make this point as best as I could, but not being a Warp user myself, it's hard to defend it. I'd love to see a Warp version of IE also, but it won't happen until our development tools get released for OS2, unless we rewrote our engine from scratch, which ain't happening. And I don't know how soon that will occur. TK. Okay. Why no Jaguar? I have just purchased IE17, and much to my surprise, I find a 3DO, Saturn, and PlayStation section, but no Atari Jaguar section. A few months back, we had the E3 show in LA, and the show was so big that it took IE 4 issues to cover the platforms at this show. Well, IE covered all platforms except for Jaguar. Why? It seems to me that while Atari may have caused problems with developers in the past, they did a pretty strong showing at E3. They showed the voice modem and a true VR system that is also affordable, yet IE didn't seem to think this was worthy news. Why? I don't see why IE doesn't have a Jaguar section when plenty of games are being worked on, just as they are for other platforms. I hope that issue 18 has a Jaguar so that I have a reason to continue buying future installments of IE. While I do realize that Atari can't compete on par with giants such as Sega, Sony, and Nintendo, I do realize that they have a system out on the market with plenty of games in development and interesting hardware on its way. Hope to see a brighter IE 18. I'm not going to know who that is. Well, I liked the Jaguar quite a lot when it had a 2-year head start on the other platforms. I'd just like to point out that IE was one of the earliest proponents of the Jaguar. One of our first writers had a major Woody for the system, and contributed articles on its titles. Our Tempest 2000 review appeared in episode 1. You had a Woody for the Jaguar, huh? Unfortunately, we had a really hard time getting the materials we needed to cover their products. We were never able to get a Jaguar for review purposes and wound up having to buy one of our own. Likewise, we often had to buy our own review product. This may seem silly, but considering that we cover some 250 products a year, if we bought them all at an average of, say, 50 a piece, that's $125,000. Add to this fact that we never really had viewers pounding us with mail saying, please, more Jaguar. So our Jaguar coverage has tapered off. I'm sorry for this, but not so sorry that I'm ready to fight to get it back into IE. If, however, you and 8,000 or so of your friends bombarded us with mailing requesting it, I suppose we'd have to reconsider. TK. You're late. Dear IE, I've recently spent the time and read the letters to the editor column of my IE magazine. I like how personal every letter is. Doesn't appear that IE edits them like it does with other mags. I have tried to seek help from someone at IE for a few months now. I very much like IE the magazine. I would very much like to see be a second-time subscriber. However, there is one issue that I have not seen or heard resolution to, and it really bugs the hell out of me. IE magazine arrives at my house at least 1 to 3 weeks after my local electronics boutique gets it. I know this is a problem with IE because I receive my PC Gamer about 1 to 2 weeks before any store receives it. I trust IE to solve their problems. They've shown it in the past, like finally mailing IE in the nice plastic packaging. Please, editor, please help me to see the light and resubscribe. I'm lost in the dark and no one has helped me. Thank you very much, ECM. Okay, this is very clearly a problem. I've had enough people complain about it that I'm convinced that it's not a sporadic thing. I promise you nothing, but I will pass your letter along to our producer and bug him until something happens, one way or the other. Either we'll start doing something different with our subscriptions, or I'll be able to tell you the situation simply isn't going to get any better. Last but not least, so long and thanks for all the fish. Let me begin by saying that the last 2 years have been very good for me. I've learned a great deal about the magazine business in general and the CD-ROM business specifically. You've been there through a lot of personal grief and triumph, and I'm very grateful for that. I've especially enjoyed being the person who got to communicate directly with your viewers through my letter columns. However, I've got to break it off. I'm sorry, but the passion is gone. I've been sloughing off my editorial duties over the past few months in an attempt to recapture the lost joie de vie. But it was all for naught. We're simply outgrown one another. It's time to move on. Oh, but don't worry that I'm getting kicked upstairs or anything. Once a peon, I'm always a peon. That's what I say. I'll be responsible for co-developing our website, which, if I'm freed up to go work on it anytime soon, should be up and running before the end of this year. Rather than being IE Online, it will have a new title and be devoted to games in general. IE Online will only be a very small part of it. Don't worry. Once I have some concrete information like a URL, I'll let you know. Meanwhile, I know that you're in good hands. You have a new art director who's really taking great strides with your appearance and packaging, thank God. You have good writers who know that Ricardo Montalban played both Mr. Rourke and Khan, that low voice and several demonic beings from another dimension that are inherently funny, and that no matter how you slice it, Phantasmagoria just wasn't a good game. Best of all, you have a bunch of dedicated fans who really appreciate the hard work and creative energy I and all the others involved have invested in your production, and they, more than anything, will carry you through the next 20 episodes. Oh, honey, I wish there were 20 more episodes. Farewell, Tim Keating, ex-editor. Rip, Tim. Tim, I loved you. We're going to miss you, buddy. We're going to miss you, Tim. Any patches and upgrades? Yes, I got patches and upgrades this special. What we got? We got a lot. We got click and play patches. Nice. All right, let's go to the news. First off, industry.
Interplay has filed suit against Lasersoft for violation of trademark and trade dress regarding the packaging of its Dimensions for Descent product, which employed packaging similar to Interplay's mega hit Descent. The lawsuit initially resulted in a temporary restraining order enjoining sales of Lasersoft's product, which was upheld in a follow-up hearing on October 2nd. Thrustmaster has begun shipping a new version of their Formula T1 driving controller. Like its predecessor, the Formula T2 features a steering wheel, gear shift, 2 dash buttons, and a gas and brake pedal assembly that rests on the floor.
Want this.
Enhancements to the controller include a more
I eventually do need to get a steering wheel for when I play
like real pedals.
Truck Sim.
T2 has a suggested retail price of $179. Todd Rundgren's No World Order broke new ground in the union of music and multimedia. His second multimedia title, The Individualist,
did this come out? The Individualist?
In enhanced CD format on November 7th. The Individualist will include both CD audio tracks and a multimedia track containing song lyrics, navigable 3D environments, and video footage from the No World Order tour. The enhanced CD has a suggested retail of around $17. Mortal Kombat maniacs can now rejoice thanks to the Ultimate Guide to Mortal Kombat. This multimedia CD covers the movie,
a multimedia CD about Mortal Kombat
show, and all 3 games, and includes a catalog on the disc so you can gratify all of your lingering
Okay, so the other tier, good. I'm glad the Individualist came out.
A comprehensive guide to all the special moves for all the characters.
Oh, it's on archive? Nice. Let me add that to my list.
History of the world, as well as additional hints and tips such as combos and a fairly complete list of the secret codes for Mortal Kombat 3. It also features numerous video clips of gameplay, excerpts from both movies, and an interview with Ed Boon and John Tobias, the creators of the game. The Ultimate Guide to Mortal Kombat will be on sale November 7th. If you just can't get enough of Magic the Gathering, you'll be glad to hear that Spectrum Holobyte plans to release a desktop customizer featuring artwork from the game.
Cool!
Magic the Gathering Desktop Illusions. The
desktop illusions!
Icons, wallpaper, colors, fonts, and sounds.
I need to get a JPEG of Quan Chi at some point. I didn't go to MagFest because I don't go a lot of places, but man, that's cool. MagFest looked sick this year.
Are you a sports fan? A pinball fan? Now, thanks to MicroLeague, you can
Danny, is this for you?
Cravings with one game. MicroLeague Sport Pinball.
You look at this. Oh, hit.
Features 3 tables, each based on 4 sports: basketball, baseball, football, and hockey. MicroLeague Sports Pinball.
Yeah, this is for Danny. Yeah, this is you. Okay, what's going on in the world of adventure?
Maccadeus has certainly been keeping busy since the release of the Daedalus Encounter. That sci-fi adventure caught lots of people's
Yeah, it's
attention
Quan
with its
Chi's here.
stunning
We're all
graphics.
just living in
Soon,
it.
other game publishers were knocking on their door, wanting to use their visual expertise in other products. A new division of the company called Mondo Media has been created to supply graphics for games by other companies. Mondo will be lending its distinctive skills to such eagerly anticipated titles as Virgin's Toonstruck and LucasArts' The Dig and
Toonstruck,
Rebel
this is another
Assault
game I
2,
need to
among
play.
others. Meanwhile, the game development branch of Maccadeus is working on a few different
It's called
possibilities for the
Maccadeus,
follow-up to
not
Daedalus Encounter.
Macadooce?
Interestingly, none of the proposed ideas have much in
These people
common
made
with
the
our
Happy
game.
Tree Friends, the
Most likely
Macadooce
choice for
people?
the next project goes under the working title of Tweez, and it will have a strong comedy element. The company continues to explore new technologies with 3D characters and worlds. IE Adventure News will supply more details as they are made available.
Okay.
Boffo is back in business.
Boffo!
after
I
the
love him!
successful
He's such a
release of
funny
Hodge
little
and Podge.
bear.
They're in the early stages of a science fiction comedy adventure game written by company president Steve Moretsky with the working title of The Space Bar. This game is being developed with Rocket Science Games, makers of the upcoming Lodestar: The Legend of Tully Bodine, and is
Oh,
targeted
Tim
for a
Keating's
third
still
quarter
working.
96
He's working at
release.
Indeed. Nice.
Earlier this year, Discus Entertainment stepped outside of their usual field of children's educational software to release their first game, Jewels of the Oracle. In a similar vein, they have just released a follow-up, Karma: Curse of the 12 Caves. This is also an exploratory puzzle game with beautiful graphics and is actually based on a real location in China.
Man, that's
Look for a
crazy,
review
Indeed.
in the
Sorry,
near future,
Indeed
right
has a
here
lot
on
of
IE.
locations
Harper
in
Collins' upcoming
Austin. They
game
have like
is
multiple
based on a
giant
popular
towers with the Indeed
scientific
logo
theory,
on them. It's
but believe it or
crazy.
not, it's not meant to be an
I was in
educational title.
downtown.
The
I
game,
think I
designed by
mentioned
NYU
in
students
early,
over a
yeah,
period
because I
of
mentioned
several
losing the
years,
pin.
involves a
And
character's
yeah, I
adventures
was
in a
like, cool,
chaotic
Indeed
world. There's a
Tower.
lot of humor involved, and while you may learn
Oh
something
yeah, and I
along
went to the
way,
Capital
it's
One
primarily
Cafe
just meant to be fun.
in downtown
This
Austin,
odd
and
little
it had
title
the
is
worst
scheduled
coffee
for
I've had in my
release
life.
this
I'm
January.
so impressed. Like, have you ever had something so bad that you're like, how did this happen? Like, it's kind of impressive. Like, they had to have done something really bad. And at first I was like, okay, maybe they just left the coffee out for too long and it got burned. But no, it was an espresso. I don't know what they did. It was so bad. It was one of the worst coffees I've had in my... It is, if not the worst coffee I've had in my life. And I can't get over it. Anyway,
A
strategy
computer
time.
is never as good an opponent as another human. But even so, these have been the complaints about the poor AI in the game Ascendancy. Therefore, the Logic
Like, it
Factory
just
is developing
tasted
an
like
AI
burnt
upgrade for
dirt.
their game called The Ascendancy
It was so
Antagonizer.
bad.
When finished, it'll be
And it was
available
like,
from their
with
website,
tip,
as
it
well
was
as
like
other sites,
$7 for
and you'll
8
be able to pick it up
ounces.
on episode
It was
20 of
such a
IE.
huge waste of
Interactive
money.
Magic is
It
continuing
was so
work on its
good. It was so,
upcoming
it was
strategy title, formerly known
just
as
the
Dynasty.
worst.
The name Destiny has been set as the final title of the game, which follows the evolution
And I
of
couldn't
man
really
over
complain because I was
700
only there to
years.
charge my phone because my phone's been dying a lot. I'm getting
It's
getting fixed soon. Don't worry. But like,
designers behind the wacky but popular financial sim Gazillionaire
Ooh.
are working on their follow-up title, Zapitalism. Described as a
I
cross between
really like
Monopoly, Space
Gazillionaire.
Renault, and SimCity, Zapitalism uses
oh,
3D
he's in
graphics
Seed.
to
Okay,
handle
so
up to
he's
6 human players
so
and
Tim
allows
Keating is
play by
actually
command.
near
Spectrum
where
Mobile will be releasing
Indeed is, because yeah,
Zapitalism
Indeed has a lot of
sometime next year.
headquarters in Austin, so that's
the
cool.
software gods that
Yeah,
they
Cedar
are,
Park
after
is,
all, famous Master of Orion and Master of Magic. All right, moving on to their next project, the follow-up to Orion, called Master of
I should go
The
see
player
Tim.
must colonize the
Shit,
stars in
actually.
response to massive population
Man,
growth,
if I was
which will
better
include
at things, I would try to
allocating
interview him, but I am
and crushing the
bad at interviewing.
Syntax is combining the space
I'd just be like, "Do you
exploration
remember
and
working in
colonization
interactive
found in Master of
entertainment?"
Orion,
He'd be like,
and
"Yeah, I
coupling it
guess."
with the
I'd be
very
like,
popular play
"Cool.
attributes of Master of
What'd you
Magic.
think of
Master
Throg?"
of
He'd be like,
Entirety
"I don't
features
remember
13
Throg. I've got
races,
so many things
race
to say."
customization, more than 30 types of ships, detailed tactical combat, and support of up to 8 players over a network or 2-player modem capability. Expect it sometime around spring of '96.
Cool.
Mission Studios has pushed back the release of their eagerly awaited Jet Fighter 3 until January of '96.
Just knock on his door. No heads up, and be like, "Hey,
The date for January
do you ever
96
like
is set to be
Phantasmagoria or
definite
something? It's not that bad, dude." He's gonna be like, "Please no."
Which nobody is talking about right
I
now.
would be like Chris Farley with Paul McCartney. Yes, it would be really bad. It's just a dog shit interview. All right, but we need to know your 3D opinions.
This month in 3D Opinions,
Oh my
we
God,
take
there's a
look at
lot.
A number of incredible developments in regard to the 3DO company, in addition to some hot new software titles which usher in the holiday season
Hot
of
new
gaming.
software.
First and foremost, in what was considered a surprise announcement, 3DO CEO Trip Hawkins announced plans for 3DO to diversify their business by creating products for the internet and PC. This moves the company away from the overall concept of a game company and repositions it as a multimedia firm.
Okay.
Although some analysts suggest 3DO is in financial trouble, there's no question they have some impressive software. Here's a look at new
Festless, thank you for the 3-month
The city
resub.
of Megadeth is under
3DO!
the control of
3DO
evil
opinions.
Conrad,
Thank
and you're
you.
stuck between a rock and a chopper blade in Studio 3DO's Blade Force, an incredible futuristic shooter. As you battle sinister Dick Tracy-like bosses, the method of transportation is by air.
Are they
through the
really
use
Dick
of a
Tracy
chopper
like
helmet.
bosses?
There's an incredible
I don't
automat
remember
feature
Dick
in the
Tracy
game,
using a
along with
helicopter,
exciting
but
power-ups
maybe
and
I am
enemies.
wrong.
This is an exclusive 3DO title, and hence
If
an
you used
incentive
a
for many
helicopter, it'd be
consumers
called
to
like the
purchase
Tracy
machine.
copter or something.
Light
Or
engine
the
is
Dick
a
copter. He should call it the
and
Dick
gameplay
copter.
is as intense as adrenaline itself.
Are they pretty Dick
Roblox
Tracy? Okay,
Software's
I
hit
trust you.
Macintosh simulator Flying Nightmares was recently released on 3DO, complete with a soundtrack featuring Mike Edwards of the band Jesus Jones. With common full-motion
Wait,
video
Jesus
segments,
Jones, really?
This title includes over 100 texture-mapped objects, and it runs surprisingly fast
For-
for the 3DO. Players suit up in the cockpit of a Harrier jet, modeled correctly down to each nut and bolt, and can engage in a series of intense air-to-air and air-to-sea battles. All the amenities of a PC flight simulator are included, with multiple camera views such as inside the cockpit and trail camera, along with realistic sound effects. As a highly detailed simulation, players can even fly missions with up to 3 wingmen. It's strongly recommended that you use the CH3DO joystick for maximum effect, as the control pad is simply too confusing for this type of detailed simulation. Flying Nightmares is an intense simulation that is well polished, holding its own against other sims such as Air Combat on the PSX. id Software's little game that could, Wolfenstein 3D, has now been ported over to 3DO by Interplay. Despite the proverbial question of why, this version features no improvements over the extremely dated PC version, except a new reorchestrated soundtrack. If you want to pay homage to the roots of 3D gaming, Wolfenstein 3D is certainly a look back at the past and not a bad game.
Okay.
While there are other more intense and technologically impressive 3D titles out there for the same price, Wolf 3D has the advantage of being a cult classic with high name recognition. Another classic making its way to 3DO
I
is
look
Alone
like
in the Dark
this.
2, Infogram's enchanting 3D polygon-based adventure game, which certainly turned a few heads when it was released. The notorious antagonist, One-Eyed Jack, has kidnapped poor little Grace Saunders and taken her to his terrifying mansion known as Hell's Kitchen. The game is certainly no slouch when it comes to content. And
Cool
for players
mansion.
looking for a down-to-earth and slow-paced adventure, Alone in the Dark 2 is a long voyage through an interesting storyline with the use of inventory objects and conversation with characters. If you're familiar with Digital Pictures' previous
quarterback
titles, such as
attack!
Slam City with Scottie Pippen and Prize Fighter, it's common knowledge that they were relatively limited in action, allowing for simple one-on-one gameplay. Their latest sports title,
Hit him in the back, hit him in the back with the football.
blows open the door as you command an entire football team, choosing the plays and picking which players to execute plays, all with the tap of a few buttons. Coach Ditka offers his advice during the game, which is actually quite useful in most cases. The beta version we previewed was very impressive in terms of interaction. All of the features of animation-based titles such as Madden Football are included, yet Quarterback Attack adds a flair of full-motion video. It's due for release in the fall.
Okay.
As the slogan states,
Hey,
war has
cannon
never
fodder.
been so much fun. Virgin's Cannon Fodder, a game which is remarkably violent in a humorous way, is perhaps one of the greatest little arcade games to appear out of Europe in quite some time. A top-down viewpoint is used to display the action as you and fellow commandos travel through 72 stages of missions to try and conquer your arch-rivals. The 3DO version includes a special music video of the theme song, as well as an 8-minute animated introduction sequence. Deserving a 21-gun salute, Cannon Fodder is one game you certainly shouldn't pass up.
Okay.
Grab your DeLorean, and as Marty McFly said in Back to the Future, let's make some time tracks as you travel back in time to a place where man and dinosaur peacefully exist in Lost Eden, another 3D release from Virgin.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Prime.
Lost Eden.
Lost Eden features stunning visual cutscenes and some of the best atmospheric theme music we've ever heard in a product. The actual adventure game portion is somewhat jaded, with corny speech for some characters and a confusing inventory system. If you appreciate style over substance, Lost Eden may indeed be found on your shopping list, as it has stunning visuals, yet stunningly bad voice acting. Finally this month, we couldn't help but give you an advanced look at Captain Quasar from Studio 3DO, which should be a phenomenal game. An isometric 3D shooter reminiscent of Crystal Dynamics' The Horde, Captain Q features gigantic explosions, varied levels, and claymation animation sequences from the same company which produced the California Raisins. Make sure to prune out this title later this year, and we'll have more information on Captain Quasar in the coming months.
All right, but what about the Saturn scope?
Months ago, there was only talk about the forthcoming battle between the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation for market share this year. But in early September, this vision turned into reality as both machines hit store shelves. With the Saturn at $399, including Virtua Fighter, the PlayStation clearly had a dollar value advantage at $299. On October 1st, Sega announced that effective immediately, they would slash $100 off the price of the Saturn.
Nice.
Although, as a consequence, no game will be packed in with the system.
Ah,
However, the playable
boo!
demos of Bug and Panzer Dragoon are included. With the same price on both systems, now it comes down to the software to see who wins. And this month, we have an extensive lineup of Saturn titles for preview and review. If you thought Daytona USA was realistic racing, get your spark plugs ready to explode, as Sega will be releasing
Get your spark
Sega
plugs ready
Rally
to explode,
Championship on the
chat.
Saturn this winter.
It's
Billed
pretty
as the
bad when
latest in
spark
car
plugs
racing
explode,
simulations
right?
with
Like,
more
I'm
of an
assuming.
off-road feel than other road-based games. Players will be able to select between desert, forest, and mountain terrain, which then can be viewed by way of 4 different camera angles.
Yeah, it's bad and they
Although
explode?
we only
Okay,
have a
that makes
short clip
sense.
of exclusive footage to show this month, stick with IE for the latest on this incredible 4-wheel sim. America's favorite pastime just received the all-star 32-bit treatment as World Series Baseball rounds the bases on the Saturn.
I like that
This
he
impeccable
swung
Battery Club
before
game features all of
the ball
Major League
came.
Teams plus all 700 players, complete with all their statistics and portraits. There's even a commentator that will announce when players come to the plate. The stadiums are 3D modeled, allowing for dramatic camera zooms and pans, in the end creating a much more realistic experience. 4 stadiums are included with the game, realistically rendered down to each seagull and spectator. A full season mode is included, which tracks player stats, in addition to competitions such as the Home Run Derby, Mid-Season All-Star Game, and exhibition games between 50 legendary players. Unquestionably, World Series Baseball is a very fine simulation that is
It's a very
easy to control for
fine
non-sports
simulation.
fans, yet provides binders of statistics for those of you who like to fill out the scorecard during the game. World Series Baseball, a Sega Saturn exclusive title, is now available. We turn from the warmth of summer to the chills of ice in another popular sport, NHL hockey. As the second
Shout
Sega
out to
sports title on
hockey.
the Saturn, the CD-ROM disc is packed with all 26 NHL teams and players, along with electronic versions of their trading cards. Hosted by Marv Albert, an interesting feature is that up to 12 players can compete
hockey's
at one
cool.
time. That is, if you can afford 12 controller pads.
Do you-
Dynamic camera
I don't know
angles
if I could
such as
afford
the
12
puck
controller
game,
pads.
however,
Yeah,
unfeasible, are
e-trading
included in
cards.
the
Do you
game.
like that?
Whereas World Series Baseball is a gem, NHL All-Star Hockey is a few shards short of a jewel, as the multiple camera angles really confuse gameplay. EA Sports NHL 96 is a much better bet, although it won't appear in the set.
Yeah, you need to buy as many
Sega's
electronic
Prize
trading cards as
Samurai
possible.
Shinobi has sliced and diced his way
Oh
onto
my
the Saturn
God.
with Shinobi Legions from Vic Takai. If you've been following Sega video game systems for some
Takai.
time, you'll remember
What
the
are you
highly
doing?
addicting version of Shinobi released with the Genesis many moons ago. This version builds upon the Genesis concept in a side-scrolling 2D environment. Although the graphics and sound effects aren't jaw-dropping, they are impressive and lend well to the distinctive Japanese feel. Judged as a platform title, this certainly is a valiant effort, worthy of a look by most Saturn owners. Nova Logic, widely heralded for their incredible chopper sim Comanche, might think about taking up MIA status for their latest
Sega
title,
was like, we're not
Blackfire,
publishing
for
this.
use
Vic
in
Takai, this is
collaboration with
yours.
Sega.
Vic Takai is like, thank you, I love it.
And featuring 16 levels of 360
I always imagined Vic Takai was a guy,
Blackfire
like just a
surprisingly
single
shallow as
guy.
a flight simulator, especially without the use of a pending Saturn joystick. Furthermore, the first-person view appears in a window on screen completely unacceptable for a next-generation
Hey,
game,
Danny, it's
especially when
Blackfire.
compared to the premier Sony flight sim Warhawk. This is truly a poor man's Comanche. Starring
Ooh.
Claudia Christensen of Babylon 5, Solar Eclipse, Crystal Dynamics' sequel to Total Eclipse is taking shape, and it looks to be one of the hottest 3D action titles due this fall. As players travel through multiple planets of levels, including a space station, they are confronted with inhumane amounts of artillery, including highly advanced laser weapons. You'll take up the pilot seat in a highly advanced spacecraft with multiple weapons and the ability to roll left and right. The 3D fractal landscapes are blithering fast with what the producers call retina-tearing action. This game is so intense you might best play it in a room with some padded white walls. The sinister Gen Empire has arrived on Earth and is prepared to detonate planet-destroying weapons and
Yeah, ripped. I was gonna say my retinas do not need to be torn. I've already got like little cataracts.
The flagship Sega Saturn title for the holiday season is reminiscent in scope to a Wing Commander epic.
Oh, hey, this game too, yeah. Gen War.
Which mesh a story to an incredible 3D mech warrior-ish environment. You don a hypersuit, which protects you from the outside environment.
Yeah, this is like the cheapest Saturn games where you didn't exactly tap its snake.
Goal of saving the Earth. The first-person environment is extremely eerie, draped with atmospheric sound effects and a CD audio music score by up-and-coming band The Bygone Dogs.
The Bygone Dogs, yeah, we talked about them. Yeah.
Polygon-based enemies. It looks to us as though Gen War will have the long-lasting play value similar to that of a Mercenary on 3DO. Stealing the slogan from another product, chances are that you'll find war has never been so much fun.
All right, last but not least, PS Extreme.
With the PlayStation out of the blocks and ready to
Rotterdam Nation,
market, one of the first titles released and also bundled with the system for an extra $50, Ridge Racer from Namco is the quintessential racing game. It's a matter of personal opinion, but I really think it's a step above Daytona on the Saturn, with amazing control of the car and shockingly good graphics. If there was one game that would go on the fireplace mantle with the PlayStation, Ridge Racer would be the first in many gamers' books. On the downside, there is only one track with 5 different variations, but overall, Ridge Racer is a tidal wave of 64-bit power. If you've ever watched the cable channel ESPN2, chances are you've seen some incredible sports demonstrated. ESPN Extreme Games from Sony, a launch title for the system, allows players to skate, bike, and luge through treacherous terrain while avoiding other opponents and obstacles on the course. Spanning 5 unique course levels, such as Lake Tahoe and Italy, this title is very reminiscent of Road Rash on the 3DO, except the gas-guzzling bikes are replaced with more environmentally friendly vehicles such as rollerblades. With a pumping rock music track and sizzling 3D graphics, ESPN Extreme Games isn't just extreme, it's extremely good. If there's one title that will wipe out the competition this fall, chances are good it will come from Psygnosis, now officially named Sony Interactive. Their flagship product, Wipeout, is a hovercraft racing game the likes of which you've never experienced before. Rendered completely on Silicon graphics machines, this is a truly revolutionary racing title, featuring multiple courses, power-ups, and incredible flight realism. It's hard to explain without playing, but Wipeout has a certain finesse about the control which has yet to be attained by other
Hey, Scarlet
products.
Swordfish. I recently got my DSi up and running, and I've been playing a translation of Maple Story DS, and it's good, but it keeps crashing. I don't know if it's the translation or what.
Couldn't be simpler. Steer and accelerate. As you race around 4 distinctly different tracks, some even with forks in the road, you're on a wrecking spree trying to rid the track of your foes.
I've also been doing the translation of Pokemon Picross for the Game Boy Color. It's fun.
The game are flawless, featuring transparent smoke from the engines as well as cars which actually show wear and tear as they become damaged. Furthermore, you're able to fully maneuver the camera during replays, seeing exactly how you prevailed in the race. That is, if you did indeed prevail. Destruction Derby does support the PlayStation Combat Cable, allowing head-to-head play between 2 units.
Combat Cable?
If you thought modem games on the PC were fun, get ready to enter a new realm. Destruction Derby is a class act with such a squeaky clean performance, it can go from a rating of 0 to 100 in 5 seconds flat. Most games on home systems have been considered ports or adaptations of arcade units, but never before have we seen a game on a console which was practically arcade perfect. Mortal Kombat 3 on the PlayStation is an exact replica of the arcade unit, so much so that you'll want to start tossing quarters at the TV screen. The second sequel of this popular fighting series is more of the
God,
game,
what's crazy about TK being an Indeed guy is that
although there are a few problems with
there are 2 big towers for Indeed. One is at the Domain and the other is in downtown, and I go to the Domain pretty frequently because I like the juice there, and so there's a big chance that I may have accidentally run into TK in real life. Oh my God, these screenshots. He ain't looking good.
And the level of creativity is another positive aspect. Although some gamers may feel the concept is perhaps too cute for their tastes, There's no denying that Rayman is a platform title that reeks of quality. and is an
TK was the
all-around
former
high-class
guy
production.
who would do the letters to the
Tennis is not
editor
exactly
for
a game that would come to mind when you
for
think of a game
interactive
system
entertainment,
such as
and
the
he
PlayStation.
quit this
Ocean of
issue.
America set the
So
record
he
straight
moved
with the
on
release of Power
to
Serve
another.
3D
No, he didn't
Tennis,
quit,
which is a
but he
first-person
moved on to
perspective
another role in the
tennis game
company in
3D. You
IE.
have the full
It
360
reeks of
degree view
quality,
the
huh?
court, the ability to enter championship tournaments, select the type of court to play on, and change camera angles. Although the concept is very good and the graphics are certainly crisp, Power Serve Tennis is a nightmare to control. I consider myself to be a relatively adept
This
gamer,
is the one where you
and
can
it was
merge
nearly
together,
impossible
yes.
to hit the ball with any accuracy because the perspective was so confusing. Nonetheless, Power Serve Tennis has some powerful graphics, but fouls by falling short of the net in terms of gameplay. The Raiden project, based on the classic arcade shooters Raiden 1 and 2, is a top-down space shooter which doesn't offer stunning 3D graphics or state-of-the-art CD sound, but rather is a somewhat dated arcade classic that has been flawlessly converted
Somewhat
to the PSX.
dated.
With the combination of two games into one package, and the ability to own two arcade classics which you may have spent a few too many quarters on in the past.
No, it's
Raiden
not.
is certainly a good game, but not
Just like when they
really
called
the strongest of
Wolfenstein
the time.
dated. I'm so
Hence, unless you were a
confused.
diehard fan of the arcade game,
Yes,
steer your ship clear of
it's
danger
95.
and
Oh,
avoid Raiden.
something's dated because it's from
Finally, Namco,
93.
the
Shut
company
up,
behind
man.
Ridge Racer has just released Air Combat, a flight simulator which allows players to select between 16 different jets and take their ego to the sky. The environment is totally non-restrictive, allowing for fluid movement as you track and lock onto other enemy jets. The simulation is realistic with proper jets such as the F-14 and limited ammunition to complete your mission.
Okay.
As the first flight simulator on the PSX, Air Combat is a strong building block, but it will probably be eclipsed by Warhawk, another simulator, in the near future.
All right. Eat shit, everything. We're all going to be usurped by Warhawk. All right. Oh, boy. Let's get started on the reviews. Chat, it's time for 3D Cyberpunk. No. I said it's time for 3D Cyberpunk.
Sometimes a good game will surprise you by coming out of nowhere.
I love that. You're sitting around playing Virtuoso, and you get blindsided by something that's fun.
Cyberpunk.
Exactly. 3D Cyberpunk is a lot like that.
3D
It doesn't
Cyberpunk.
sound like anything too impressive, but once you play it, you realize how cool it is.
It's not flashy. There aren't any SGI rendered cutscenes. It's just a whole lot of fun. Fun, you know, what games used to be about.
Cyberpunk is like some strange mutant version of hockey.
Yeah,
Minus the
Cyberfuck.
ice,
Sorry.
Extra players, gratuitous violence, and beer endorsements. It's a first-person action game pitting you against the computer or another human.
It's like they took hockey, got rid of all the players except one on each side, and threw out all those stupid rules that get in the way of the action. You grab the puck and shoot it into the opposing goal. You can't get much simpler than that.
3D Cyberpunk could be a first-person shooter if it wasn't for the puck, the goals, and the lack of monsters. The 3D engine is quick and very smooth, like Doom. Not bad for a little low-profile shareware game, huh?
Cyberpunk's engine puts games like Virtuoso and Operation Body Count to shame. This
Fuck
is no
off,
second-rate game.
Virtuoso.
A lot of thought and care went into making this game right, and it shows.
You've probably already figured this out, but the object in 3D Cyberpunk is to grab the puck and shoot it into your opponent's goal while keeping him from doing the same to you. It's a radical new concept, but you can get the hang of it.
You hold on to the puck with an electromagnetic force. If your opponent gets close enough, he can punch you and wear down that force until the puck shoots away at a random angle. A gentleman's sport this is not.
A game consists of a series of matches which are won by the first player with 5 points. Between matches, you get to spend your winnings in the shop. Here you can get all sorts of goodies to beef up your power.
You can improve your punch strength, pump up your shield power, boost your speed, and more. You'll need to do this to stay in the game, because the computer shops at the same store, and even the loser gets a consolation prize.
Also available at the shop are items you can introduce onto the playing field. Walls can be dropped to block your goal.
Am I offended,
or to get your
Virtuoso?
opponent off your back. Or you can drop a gravity well to attract
Perhaps.
the puck.
These items are
It's
a lot
not
of fun to
great,
play
but
with,
I respect
they're
it for not
really
being
needed in a
great.
one-player game. since the computer usually forgets to use them, but they're a blast when you go up against a buddy.
The shareware version of Cyberpunk is a lot of fun, but you only get to play a few matches before the game's over. If you register, you get a lot of extra levels to play around in, and they're well worth the measly $30.
You wouldn't expect interesting levels in a game like this, but you get them anyway. Some have revolving goals, some have items like gravity wells already in place, and many have duct systems that grab the puck and shoot it out halfway across the court. Maybe these guys did an apprenticeship at id.
The only thing I can really criticize the game about is multiplayer support. Cyberpunk supports 2 players across an IPX network, but won't let you play via modem or
This
serial
is
cable.
3D
Other than that,
Cyberpunk.
it's a complete blast.
I don't know why they didn't include modem and serial support. That would have boosted the game's audience in a big way. But yeah, it's still a great game. Being shareware, you can find it at many sites online, or you can order the registered version directly from Homebrew Software.
Okay.
Go track it down. It's worth it.
Chat, 3D Cyberpunk, surprisingly good. But let's see the pros.
The 3D engine is superb, and the graphics and sound are pretty good too. The power-ups really help keep the player in the game, and the levels themselves feature some great designs.
And the cons?
Although you can play a 2-player game over a network, support for modem and serial cable connections is mysteriously absent.
Boo. We should also try Blood Bowl. All right, Blood Bowl fans, you know what to try now. Okay, next we did 3D opinions and adventure news. So let's do a Big Red Racing.
Oh. That pretty much describes Domark's upcoming racing game, Big Red Racing. Forget finesse. Big Red Racing is an all-out gonzo racing experience that will allow those folks who think racing on asphalt is for sissies. If you live by the code that you can't go fast enough, can't turn the music up too loud, and too much is never enough, Big Red Racing is made just for you.
For
The
me?
graphics engine used in Big Red Racing is the same one used in
Yeah, it's
Domark's
Tim the
very
Toolman Taylor's
underrated
favorite
Tank
game.
Commander. This engine doesn't try to make things look as realistic as possible, but it gives the environment a cartoonish look. This may have turned some folks off to Tank Commander, but it really adds a lot to Big Red Racing, since the game itself sometimes feels like a cartoon. You'll be racing things like hovercraft, lunar buggies, and backhoes. That's right, those things that dig up lots of dirt are yours to speed across the countryside. I
Not
think the
gonna lie,
design
racing in a
philosophy
backhoe
behind
is
Big
kinda
Red Racing
sick.
was to throw
That's
out
kinda
every
sick.
rule of the road you could think of and just go as fast as possible over, under, around, and through everything on the track and look good doing it. Keeping in line with the theme of the game, VGA is fine, but more is always better, right? Oh. So Big Red
I
Racing will
finished
be able to run in
Dr.
SVGA
Bum.
for those with the guts and the power to experience it.
I've had worse.
All
I've
total,
had
there's
so
going to be
much
12
worse.
widely varying
But
vehicles to
Dr.
race on
Bum
19
definitely
insane
has
tracks
that
made up of
grandma's
6 different
bath
types of
bead
terrain
soap
like
taste.
Ice, desert, and water. And to translate your mood and style to each race, Big Red Racing will provide 6, shall we say, unique characters that you can
Shall
race
we
as.
say?
The racing style of this game can only
do
be
this.
described by the term all out. You'll fly through the air, almost certainly getting involved in or causing a few mid-air collisions along the way. You'll skid around corners on as few wheels as possible, and you'll be bouncing off everything possible in an effort to get to the finish line first. And all this will be highlighted by play-by-play commentary and a CD audio quality
Okay,
soundtrack
yeah,
by the
that-
rock group
that-
Hangman.
See,
Of
service
course,
can
you'll
we're on the
want to
same
be able
page.
to watch
Like, there
every
are some
crash,
drinks
flip,
where it
and
just
otherwise
tastes like
destructive event,
like
so
you
Big
said,
Red
like
Racing
a
provides
Bath and
ton
Body
of
Works.
virtual camera views. Along with
Plus
the normal
Gumble,
first
thank you for the
person, you can
16-month
watch the
resub.
video.
Big Red subbing, thank
Put
you.
yourself right in your opponent's front seat and just about any other viewing angle and position. But we all know that a game is always more fun when you can cause maximum damage and trouble to your close personal friends. So Big Red Racing is fully multiplayer compatible. You can play head-to-head with a friend over a modem, or you can take on everyone you know over a network. But if it's just you, a bud, and a computer, Big Red Racing can use a split screen for 2 racers on 1 computer. Big Red Racing forgets strategy, finesse, and all that other sissy stuff and gets right down to what makes racing really
Strategy,
fun.
the genre of
Taking
sissies,
anything on
apparently.
wheels and going really fast while screaming at the top of your lungs the entire way. Featuring SVGA graphics, weird cars, and fantastic tracks, look for Big Red Racing to be released for Windows 95 towards the end of November.
Okay, but what about Caesar 2?
Roman Caesars were responsible for a great many things in our society. The Caesar salad, for example.
Don't forget Caesarean sections.
Oh yeah, epileptic Caesars.
What?
And what about Shakespearean plays?
Et tu, i.e.?
Et tu, indeed.
That was a
And
preview.
little
They don't do
closer
pros
to
and
our
cons for
list,
previews,
the Impressions
unfortunately.
game simply titled Caesar, which appeared a few years ago.
I don't even know what to
Now,
say.
Impressions,
What
which
do you
is
even
inspired
say
by
to this
Sierra,
intro?
is bringing Caesar up to date with the brand new Caesar 2.
You know, I still can't get over the fact that this is an Impressions game.
No way.
This is easily the best thing they've ever done, and to be honest, the best city sim I've seen in a long time.
It puts the player in the role of a Roman governor at the dawn of the Roman Empire. Through judicious management of his provinces, the player rises through the ranks.
We are in
eventually
Morning Zoo
ending up as emperor.
territory.
There are really two modes of play in Caesar 2. The city mode, which is where you'll spend most of your time, and the provincial mode. It's possible to play the game only from the city mode, but playing the full game requires playing
So
both,
far,
which
not
is
as
how
many
Caesar 2
bits
plays
as
best
the
in
last
playing the
issue,
city
so
mode.
that's
Requires
good.
Building things like houses,
Or bad
libraries,
if you
and
really like the
roads,
bits.
while making sure there's enough water and city employees. If this sounds familiar, there's a good reason. This plays almost exactly like SimCity 2000.
But Caesar 2 gets in closer to the action and looks a lot better. With all the wonderful marble-tiled forums, the stone coliseums, the beautiful gardens and houses, it's fun just to watch someone play Caesar 2.
True, we're only 3 reviews in. There's plenty of time for them to bring out Throg.
This game is like having a piece of art on your computer.
Looking good doesn't guarantee
Okay,
that
I
a
like
game
the
is playable.
portraits.
Caesar 2's design lives
I like
up to
this
its
guy.
name.
He's like, hey,
All of the intricate real estate and financial aspects you'd
Take my-
expect in
look,
a
we're
good
holding
city sim
hands.
are all here.
The driving force for growth in this game
There,
is
we're
based
holding
on
hands.
land value. The higher the value, the more developed a structure will become, which translates into more people and money.
It's a lot more complicated than it may sound. For example, a house's value
Pop growth
increases when
rate
it's close to things like
extremely
schools and
good.
temples, but the value becomes limited when too close to markets and businesses.
But the catch is, you still have to locate houses close enough to businesses to make them happy, but not too close to limit their land value. It's a little bit more complicated to play than SimCity 2000.
The second main mode of play is the provincial mode. Here your city is just part of a larger area, and while you're in charge of the capital city, there are other cities in your province.
By hooking these cities up to your capital city with roads, you increase trade between them, and there are areas where you can set up specific industries.
You
Okay,
can
so like
establish
Civ.
farms on good farmland, mine or quarry in rocky areas, and you can set up ports by the sea.
With all of these people and their money around, it won't be long before the bad guys come calling. So you can build provincial walls to help protect your loyal subjects from attacks by any outside invaders.
But a good army is the best protection, so forts can be located around your province to house your soldiers in case you have to get rough with some uncivilized barbarian types.
The combat feature in Season
Gonna
2
hold his hand
really helps
again.
set this game apart from other city sims.
This gives it that little extra involvement that was missing from SimCity 2000. You allocate your resources in order to build up a provincial
Caesar
army.
3 is on
Then, when
stream.
any
A lot
bad
of
guys
fun.
come
It's more
around,
like SimCity. That
time
does
to
sound good.
rumble.
When you send out your cohort to meet the enemy,
Thumbs
you give them an option whether or
down.
not to personally lead your troops into battle. If you choose to personally take command, you're taken to the battle screen.
You see the troops for both sides facing off on the battlefield, but the battle hasn't started yet. You're given the chance to arrange your troops to your liking before you set the battle into motion.
You can pause the game at any time to give orders, or you can issue commands while the battle is occurring. You can have your troops attack in columns or lines, retreat or pursue, and you can order your troops with slings to aim at a certain area.
But basically, combat consists of you giving orders and the computer calculating the outcome. It would have been nice to have a little more involvement or depth, but overall it's not bad.
Not bad.
What really helps make this a great game is the interface. Everything is simple to use and easy to understand.
The
Okay.
city mode commands are arranged in a block of
You
icons
really
on the
like
right side of
Caesar
the screen
2.
where everything you want to do can be easily accessed.
If there are more detailed options, like selecting the water icon,
I
or
would
choosing
build an
reservoir zone,
aqueduct
submenus,
through my
There's
house.
a bar that lets you easily
That'd be
move
kind of cool
between city
though.
and provincial,
Like it would be a really
and you
cool
can
water
also
feature to
choose the
have,
best
just like an
forum for it.
aqueduct.
The forum is the place where the player gets most of his information and can control all aspects of his province. A set of advisors can be clicked on to gain information on taxes, the army, and the workforce.
Your
This
empire
is
rating
Caesar
limited
2.
by your low imperial favor. When the emperor talks,
Pass through,
you should
thank you
listen.
for
If
the
you get confused on
follow.
which advisor is which, there's a menu at the bottom of the screen with all of the areas of government.
Everything is controllable from the mouse. It doesn't
I
get
do
any
like, I
more
think chat
intuitive
mentioned
or
earlier, but the
simple than
plebes
this.
button is a nice
Most
touch.
actions are accomplished from a minimum of mouse clicks, so you can keep your mind on
Hold on, I
the
still
game
gotta hold
and
this
not
guy's hand.
spending all your time with repetitive clicking.
But overall, the goal is not simply to grow as big as possible. The Emperor has very specific expectations for your province.
There are 4 areas that your province is evaluated on: empire, peace, prosperity, and culture. Each area has a percentage that the player must reach through developing his province.
When all 4 areas match or exceed the percentage goal, the Emperor offers the player a promotion. If the promotion is taken,
Avian
it's
Bobius,
off to a
huh?
brand new province where everything starts all over again.
But the promotion doesn't have to be taken. The player can continue to build and expand the current province, with the Emperor re-evaluating the province every 10 or 25 years thereafter.
For a while there, it seemed like SimCity 2000 wasn't ever going to be topped, or matched for that matter. But it looks like Caesar 2 is just the sim to do it.
It's not
Okay.
a perfect game. I mean, you can't rotate buildings to match the area.
You
have to
can't?
rotate the
Fuck
area
it,
to
no.
match the building.
Fail.
It's confusing and extremely inconvenient, but at least it's possible.
Caesar 2 has taken everything good about the city sim genre and improved on it. This is better looking and more fun than any game out there. If you buy just 10 games this year, make sure this is one of them.
This is a very beautiful title with the addictive gameplay qualities that are going to keep you up past your bedtime for many months to come.
Okay.
Hail Caesar.
All right, let's check out the pros and cons.
This is one of the most attractive games I've seen in a while. It has the addictive quality of the best city simulators with the excitement of combat.
And the cons.
For action fans, this game will probably seem very slow and boring.
Very slow and boring if you're an action fan. We should also try SimCity 2000 and Ascendancy. Okay. All right, chat, it's time for Chaos Control.
Everybody loves a good, fast-paced spaceship battle. Remember the big Death Star scene in Star Wars where the ship goes down in the trench?
Who doesn't? I still
Who
get
doesn't?
goosebumps watching that.
Well, Chaos Control, the new arcade-type shooter from iMotion and Philips Media, has the fast-paced flying around
We love
part
Philips
down pat,
Interactive Media.
But not much else, I'm afraid.
Well, how much more can there be?
Maybe we'd better start at the beginning. Remember all those space probes we sent out in the 60s and 70s that were basically saying to the universe, hey, here we are, drop by sometime?
Wait, let me guess. We found somebody out there and they weren't very nice.
Very good. You show remarkable familiarity with sci-fi plot number 63A. In this case, the bad guys are a sort of insecty humanoid race called the Keshran. They're a bunch of ruthless jerks bent on world conquest at any cost.
Hey now, that's a very racist attitude. So, by any chance, does the player take the part of the one person in the world who can possibly save us from this hideous alien threat?
Once again, you're one step ahead of the game. You play Lieutenant Jessica Darkhill, ace pilot, and your first mission is to clear a path for a bunch of civilians.
I
to
love
meet
the fake
repatriated
anime style.
From the lunar base to Manhattan.
You also appear to be a cartoon character.
It's called anime, mister, and it's very popular these days.
Well, it would be anime,
It's called
except that
anime.
this game is quite thoroughly French and not really Japanese at all.
Well, okay, it only wants to be anime, but it still looks nifty.
It does sort of give you the impression that the aliens are destined to win, though. I mean, look at these guys. They've all got 3 dimensions going for them.
Actually, I think that the idea behind this odd character design is to try and keep player interest up with a Robotech-style soap opera plot. Jessica is sent into battle by her father, who can hardly bear the thought of his sweet little girl going off and getting toasted by the bugs, stuff like that.
Well, does it work? Do you care about the characters?
Not likely. The scenes last for a few minutes, then you get no reminders of the character's existence during battle. It might have been a good idea to have some radio contact with somebody.
Well, this sounds like a good time to talk about the actual gameplay.
Jessica is supposed to be this terrific pilot, and apparently the designers didn't want to sacrifice this bit of character in case you happen to be a rotten one, so you don't handle any of the flying at all.
Well, that's not so awful. There's lots of nailed-to-the-rail games out there. I assume you get to handle the gun, right?
Yep, that's your job. You click on your targets with your mouse. The crosshair cursor starts out green and then turns red when it's on top of an enemy.
What the hell was that?
Oh, that was the supposedly useful voice that tells you to fire when the cursor turns red.
But you'd already made your shot and hit the bad guy.
Yeah, well, it's not the fastest feature in the world. Actually, I'm surprised it didn't say... Oh, there it goes.
Okay, this is moving pretty fast. Do the enemies always attack in the same pattern when you play?
Exactly the same. Oh, did I mention that there are 2 difficulty settings?
Okay, what changes?
I have no idea. It looked exactly the same to me.
It's funny, I can see that the bad guys are firing at you, but I can't see or hear much indication of whether they're hitting you or not.
Well, there's no explosion noise or anything, but the camera shakes a little. And you see this gauge down at the bottom? That's the shield meter. It goes down a little bit when someone hits you.
Why isn't anything blowing up when you hit it?
It is.
No, it isn't. It's still there. There's just a cloud of smoke around it. Do you maybe need to hit it again to blow it up?
I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but that's about as blown up as things get. The folks who were working on the graphics apparently didn't want to bother
Yeah, we covered
themselves
this
with
game.
Explosions.
You mean you can't even blow things up? What the heck is the point of an arcade shooter if you can't blow anything up?
It's also annoyingly difficult to complete the first level. It seems no matter how viciously you attack the enemy, you always end up dying at about the same place.
Well, challenge is good. It gives you more reason to want to keep playing.
Uh-huh.
Well, it would. But I also tried the game without shooting at anything. I just let the program fly me into battle and sat back and watched.
Maybe
I
this
died
review
just
was in
a
another...
little
They
earlier
could
than
have
I had
repeated it.
before.
I don't
made
remember it,
all the
honestly, but it could have been
difference except my
repeated.
score.
Cripes! It sounds like the game misses the boat in almost every possible way. Was there anything that worked well in this
Although
game at all?
I think
Well,
I would have
still think the
remembered.
actual
Maybe
flying
I don't think I would have
sequence is
forgotten.
pretty exciting.
It's
There's also an element of
anime.
subtlety. You
It's
shoot
very
pistols,
popular
shooting
nowadays.
everything. You have allies on the screen too.
Is that why the crosshairs are yellow here?
Yeah, if you shoot one of your own men, you get points removed from your score.
That makes sense, but it doesn't sound like nearly enough to salvage Chaos Control.
I just can't picture anyone getting hooked on this game. If you need to shoot things, you won't have trouble finding a better game to do it with. So don't waste your time here.
Okay, if you need to shoot things.
Everybody,
What are the
the
pros?
flight around the city of New York is very exciting, with lots of narrow twists and turns and many varied enemies to shoot. Be careful not to shoot your own men, or you'll get a point deduction.
All right, don't shoot your own men, chat. But what are the
When you
cons?
shoot something, there is no graphic explosion. Instead, a cloud of smoke obscures the target. The voice that tells you when to fire your gun is always late and useless. The only way to tell that your ship is being hit is to watch the shield meter. It's almost impossible to finish the first wave, no matter which difficulty level you're set on.
We should also try Siberia, Nova Storm, and Rebel Assault. Sounds good, sounds good. All right, let's go back to the article list. And for now, chat, it's about time for me to take my intermission. So I'll be back in about 10 minutes. For intermission, we've got a Star Wars story record from 1979. So if you want to hear a nice little Star Wars story, tune in to our intermission. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. See ya.
This is the story of Star Wars. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear R2-D2 beep, like this. Let's begin now. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the hope of freedom was kept alive by rebel forces fighting against the evil Galactic Empire. In a daring raid, rebel spies managed to steal secret plans to the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star. But as the rebels raced back to their base, they were pursued by a powerful Imperial starship. On board the small rebel craft, 2 droid units were knocked about as deadly laser bolts exploded outside. C-3PO, the taller, human-like droid, said to his companion,
R2-D2, the Imperial starship is getting closer. We'll be destroyed for sure. This is madness. We're doomed.
Within minutes, dozens of Imperial stormtroopers boarded the rebel craft, firing their laser rifles. The helpless rebel soldiers could only surrender. Through the hatch strode a black-cloaked, helmeted figure, Darth Vader, the fierce Imperial warrior.
Commander, tear this ship apart until you found those plans.
While stormtroopers searched frantically for the stolen
It just
plans,
seemed like
the
another
rebel
sad
leader,
case
Princess
of
Leia,
people killing
called
each other.
R2-D2 into a deserted corridor.
Here, R2. I have placed the secret plans and a message in your memory banks. You and C-3PO must take an escape pod, land on the planet of Tatooine below, and deliver the plans to Obi-Wan Kenobi. He will know what to do.
Only seconds after the two droids blasted off, Princess Leia was captured and brought before Darth Vader.
Oops.
How dare you attack
pressed the
us,
wrong
Lord
key.
Vader? We
Try
are
again.
on a diplomatic mission.
Don't play games with me, Your Highness.
Answered Vader.
You are a part of the Rebel Alliance. On the Death Star, you will tell us where your secret base is. Come.
Meanwhile, below on Tatooine, a young lad named Luke Skywalker was yearning to join the rebellion and soar through the galaxy fighting the evil Empire. But Luke felt he should stay and work on his uncle's struggling farm. How could Luke know that the key to his dreams was only a few miles away? The two droids had landed with the plans. R2 and 3PO were soon picked up by Jawas, a band of small desert scavengers. The Jawas took the droids to Luke's farm, hoping to sell them for a good price. Luke looked the droids over.
Let's hear it from Jimmy Thudcup.
Follow me, you two. I'll clean you up in the shed.
As Luke scraped the dirt off R2, he accidentally triggered Leia's message. Her projected image pleaded.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Luke was puzzled.
I wonder if she means old Ben Kenobi, the desert hermit. Come on, you two. Let's go see him.
Old Ben was full of surprises.
Yes, my boy. I was once called Obi-Wan Kenobi, back when I was a Jedi Knight, like your father.
My father was a Jedi?
Asked the startled youth, remembering stories about the noble knights who kept the peace before the Empire took control.
Yes, Luke. And this was his lightsaber. I've been saving it for you.
Ben handed Luke a sleek cylinder. At the touch of a button, an intense beam of light shot out to form a glowing blade.
This is the weapon of the Jedi. Your father was killed by a treacherous pupil of mine named Darth Vader. According to the princess's message, Vader will soon be using the Death Star to destroy rebel planets. Luke, for the sake of your father and the Rebel Alliance, you must help me deliver these secret plans and stop Darth Vader. I will teach you how to use the Force, the power which gives the Jedi his strength and skill.
Luke eagerly agreed to help.
Very good, Luke,
smiled Ben.
Now come. Stormtroopers will soon be looking for you and your droids. We must find a pilot who will take us to Princess Leia's home planet of Alderaan at once.
Their search began in a local tavern filled with strange alien creatures. In a dark booth, Ben and Luke located a brash smuggler pilot named Han Solo.
Sure, I can get you to Alderaan, but it'll cost you plenty. Smuggling rebel sympathizers through Imperial blockades is no picnic.
Han's co-pilot, Chewbacca, a shaggy 8-foot Wookiee, roared his agreement. Luke, Ben, and the droids boarded Han's ship, the Millennium Falcon, with stormtroopers hot on their trail. Only Han's skill as a pilot put them safely out of the Empire's reach. But as the Falcon neared Alderaan, Han couldn't believe his eyes.
Look, the planet's gone. It's been blown to bits.
This is Darth Vader's work,
said Ben sadly. Vader's huge battle station, the Death Star, was lurking nearby and had detected the Falcon's presence.
Let's get out of here!
Shouted Han.
Chewie, the controls aren't responding. We're caught in a tractor beam. It's pulling us right into the Death Star. Quick, everyone, into this secret compartment. When we land, those stormtroopers will think the ship's empty.
Meanwhile, Darth Vader was questioning Princess Leia in her prison cell.
Where is the secret rebel base?
You'll never learn that from me.
Snapped Leia.
Your cruel destruction of Alderaan has only strengthened my loyalty.
Vader angrily turned to leave when suddenly he stopped.
I sense a tremor in the Force. There is a presence. Yes, Obi-Wan Kenobi is here. I feel it.
In the meantime, Luke, Han, and Chewbacca had come out of hiding to find Princess Leia and release her. She had expected a different rescuer.
Where is Obi-Wan Kenobi?
He's trying to shut off a tractor beam so we can fly out of here.
Said Han impatiently.
Now let's move it. There go the alarms!
Shouted Luke.
Hurry!
Stormtroopers raced after them, filling the air with laser fire. Luke, Han, and Chewbacca fought back bravely, but they were hopelessly outnumbered.
I never bargained for this,
complained Han between blasts.
Hit for the Falcon!
Ben succeeded in shutting off the tractor beam, but his return to Han's ship was blocked by Darth Vader.
So, we meet again, Obi-Wan Kenobi. This time, I will destroy you.
If you do, Darth, I will only grow stronger.
The two warriors lit their lightsabers. A furious battle began. The air hummed and sparks flew as lightsabers swung and clashed. Finally, Darth's saber cut through Ben's cloaks. But the old Jedi was no longer there. He had vanished. Luke and the others dashed aboard the Millennium Falcon as Han leaped to the controls.
Okay, Chewie, hit it!
Engines roared, and the Falcon shot out of the docking bay. Han hollered to Luke.
Get to a laser cannon, kid! We've got 4 Imperial TIE fighters chasing us!
Luke, still stunned by Ben's disappearance, managed to fire the cannon repeatedly until he and Han had shot down all their pursuers. Leia directed Han to the secret rebel base, where she turned over the stolen plans. After much study, the Death Star's weak spot was found. Rebel pilots had to hit an exhaust port with their proton torpedoes, but the rebel forces were pitifully small.
Hey, so, that's the story of Star Wars. If you want to hear the rest of the story of Star Wars, you gotta go watch Star Wars, the film that some of you may have heard of. It's all new to me. Real quick, let me just link this in the chat if you want to listen to this. Technically, it's an LP, not an audio cassette, but it's still in my audio cassette list. But, you know, same diff. All right, chat. We're back. And this time, we're going to learn about... Excuse me. There we go. We're going to learn about Crusader.
The slogan for the entertainment company Origin is, "We create worlds."
And they haven't done so bad so far. With the Wing Commander and Ultima series under their belts, they know what they're doing.
Their latest creation, Crusader, looks like it could
Crusader,
be their
no
next
remorse.
big thing. Origin's world-creating abilities were in top form when making this game. It has the look, feel, action, atmosphere, everything that's needed to engulf the player into the game's world.
The world of Crusader is set around.
Oh my
100
god,
years
that
ago.
jacket!
Instead of
Chat,
governments
that
running everything,
jacket!
One giant conglomerate called the World Economic Consortium has been put in control.
It's basically a cross between Walmart and Uncle Sam.
Every aspect of life is run and controlled like a business. People are called citizen partners, and the goal in life seems to be to maximize output.
Gee, that sounds so familiar. Where have I heard that before?
Stop gabbing and get back to work!
Oh yeah, now I remember.
Anyway, life is basically live for the
Yeah,
consortium,
that jacket's amazing.
work for the consortium, sleep for the consortium.
Any criticism of or disagreement with the consortium is, shall we say, frowned upon.
But there exists a handful of dissidents, a troop of terrorists, a group of guerrilla fighters who oppose the World Economic Consortium.
Heretofore known as the WEC.
Thank you. Who oppose the WEC, known simply as the Resistance.
Elegant name.
I thought so.
The Resistance is who the player works for.
I see. And just who is the player?
I'm glad you asked. See, since the WEC is in control of just about everything, they also control the police and the military. And in the military, there's this elite group of Special Forces commandos called Silencers.
You mean Boba Fett there?
You get the picture. Except these guys walk around in red plastic armor.
Very chic. It says to me I can be forceful and fashionable at the same time. Very jaunty. It should really spice up this winter season.
Whatever. Your character was ordered to fire upon.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard them do the gay voice. Sorry, like.
Suspect me of being an informer?
That's the first time they've ever done the gay bit. I don't know if I like it. Maybe they shouldn't. Maybe think about that.
By teleporting into the target area on a teleport
That's
pad.
funny. I'm
You can
sorry.
always get an update on your mission.
I mean, if they're gonna, it was going to happen. It
Otherwise,
was
you
the
just follow the level
90s.
straight ahead, and you'll eventually get where you want to go.
You have a health meter and a shield meter to keep track of throughout the game. And there are booths scattered on the levels that give you a boost in health or shield energy when you need it.
There are plenty of other neat things to play with, like spider bombs, which you guide by remote control. You get to visit the Rebel base after each mission.
At the base, you get to talk to some of the other Rebel members, which is basically
My
just
problem
you
with his
watching
gay
the video.
voice is
But the
it
actors
wasn't
did a nice job
gay
lending
enough,
believability
like-
and fun to the game.
And
Like, if
there's
you're gonna
also
do
Weasel.
it,
He's the
you
guy
know.
you can go to buy weapons and ammunition, using the credits you lifted off the bad guys.
Maybe
you shot
I'm
in
just
the previous
biased as someone with a natural
As you can
gay
see, the game is
voice.
played from an isometric view. It looks a lot like Syndicate in some ways, but it's closer in and the screen doesn't scroll.
Whenever you get close to the edge of a screen, the computer repositions the screen to show you the next area of the level.
I like scrolling screens where the environment follows me around, but Crusader lets you center the screen on your character at will.
What I especially liked about this was that even if a bad guy was right off the edge of the screen, if I can't see him, although I theoretically can, the computer still treats the guy as out of sight.
This keeps the computer from shooting at you with bad guys who are right off the screen that you can't see.
One of the more impressive things about Crusader is the number of moves your character has.
You can walk forward and backward, rotate in either direction, crouch down, roll left or right, run, and
This game is
advance
pretty
with your
good?
weapon
Okay.
range.
All of these movements really give
I've never
Crusader
played
an
Crusader.
unexpected depth of play, but the controls can be a little tricky to learn at first. All directional movement is determined by the arrow keys, and the type of movement is determined by the Control and Alt keys.
With the control key down, you can crouch, jump, and roll to the sides. With the Alt key down, you can advance forward and backwards with your gun drawn, and do a sidestep to both sides. These are the familiar keys used with Doom.
So 90% of the world's population should be used to using these keys.
But as far as the graphics are concerned, Origin did an absolutely first-rate job. The graphics look so realistic you can't help but get drawn into the game.
We're told that the Silencer wears plastic armor, and darned if that guy on the monitor looks just like he's wearing plastic armor. And those explosions!
Okay, I'm awake.
The explosions featured in Crusader are probably the best-looking explosions from any game I've ever seen or played. But
Okay.
even those aren't my favorite
Good
feature.
explosions.
When a person gets too close to an explosion or gets hit with an exploding shell,
The person in the game
I make
catches
those
on fire
noises.
and runs around screaming. They eventually collapse to the floor and burn to a crisp. It's actually kind of disturbing to see and hear at first, but after a while you'll be using your grenade launcher
Speaking
on
of burn
guys,
to a
even if
crisp,
you have
chat,
another weapon
I
that'll
really
do
like
just
my
as
new
good.
air
But if
fryer.
this kind of violence
It's
is a little
it's
much
a
for
household
you,
air fryer, not technically. I don't
biggest
own it.
selling point of Crusader
I
is
would
the
never
interactive
prevent
environment.
anyone from
yes,
using this air
virtually
fryer, but
everything you
man,
see
it
on the
makes the
screen can be
crispiest
affected by you in
Brussels
some way.
sprouts. It was so
Electrical
fucking
boxes on
good.
the wall turn things on and off.
Glass shatters when shot.
Guardrails get decimated.
Chairs go careening across the room when shot.
And don't be anywhere near those barrels if they get shot. They blow up better than anything else.
The entire room is live and interactive. If you get too close to an electrical panel on the wall, the electricity reaches out and tries to fry you. Everything
You burned the
acts just like it
noodles
would
in the
real life.
microwave when
And
making
there's lots
ramen?
of
That's
traps and
so
puzzles to figure out
cool.
along the way. Hidden
Sorry,
panels in
I
the
don't know how
floor
you would
trigger
do
guns and
that.
doors, and you have to find passkeys in certain
How do you
places in order to open certain locked doors.
Unless you just want to blast your way through a door.
One of the downsides in the game is that there is limited replayability in it. Even though there are lots of different ways to kill people and lots of different things to blow up, the levels are the same every time you play, and the bad guys are always in the same places.
But there are 15 different missions, and each mission takes quite a while to get through. You'll be playing for a long time.
And there are lots of different environments to interact with, including refineries, labs, military bases, even a space station.
And there are 16 different weapons to use throughout the game, but there are only very few available at the beginning, so as you proceed through the game, you'll be awarded with new ways of causing destruction.
This Crusader's a rockin' game. The ideas
Crusader's
aren't all
a
that
rockin'
original.
game,
The way
chat.
it's put together has never been done quite like this.
The only price you'll pay for something like this is that you'll need a decent machine to run it well. My P60 with 8 megs of RAM still encountered irritating pausing. I'd say use a machine with 16 megs if possible.
But if you don't have access to that kind of power, don't worry, because the game is customizable to suit the abilities of the machine.
But that's the only warning I can think to give. Crusader is a virtually
Oh man, I
flawless
also got an
game that
electric
makes
kettle for
upgrading to a better
Christmas,
machine worth it.
and
Finally, here's a
it
game
is so
that
good
shows
for
action
tea. Oh my
shooters
god.
don't have to be in first person to still be fun. And man, is Crusader ever fun.
All right, but Crusader might, excuse me, Crusader might be fun, but what are the pros?
slogan. Everything in this game has been done with a lot of attention and imagination. It has a lot of teeth-grinding action, but still manages to throw in strategy and puzzles along the way.
And the cons?
You'll need a powerful machine to run this smoothly with good graphics and sound. Using the minimum specs aren't going to make Crusader look and play like it should.
And we should also try Syndicate and Relentless. Yeah, the electric kettle I have has like a mesh screen on it, so you can just throw the tea leaves in it if you wanted, which is really crazy. All right, we checked out Daggerfall, but we haven't seen Exploration.
Games involving the discovery of the new world seem to be making a bit of a comeback these days. We've seen several releases of this kind within the last year, and Interactive Magic is extending the trend with Exploration.
One of the first strategy sims I ever played was a game called 7 Cities of Gold on my Commodore 64 years ago, and it still remains one of my all-time favorites. It was a sim about the discovery of the new world, so I was very interested when Exploration was released.
And what do you think of Exploration now that you've played it?
Well, it has some really good features and some features that aren't quite so good. To tell you the truth, it wasn't really what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be more of a simulation, but Exploration is really strategy-oriented and plays a lot like a board game.
Exploration is a game of world discovery and conquest. The object is to discover land, establish colonies and ports, build plantations and mining operations, and make lots and lots of money.
As a player,
What
you
if I
can
don't
choose
wanna
one
do
of
those
5 historical
things?
characters like Christopher Columbus or James Cook. If you wish, you can play yourself, but all that involves is simply choosing one of these characters and substituting your own name.
If you choose a character with a home port of Spain or Portugal, you begin the game with a slightly better ship, since these countries historically had an advantage in shipbuilding.
And while you're choosing characters, you can also choose whether you want to play on a map of the real world or have the computer generate a random map. Once you choose a map and the number of players, you begin the actual game in your home port with 1 ship and an allotment of money.
The game is played in turns, with each turn representing 1 year. A game played from beginning to end would take 300 years, ending in 1789, which was what? Jack?
The year Cheers debuted?
No. Bob?
The number of times It's a Wonderful Life will be on TV this December?
That's not what we're looking for. Jerry.
The average number of swear words uttered after buying Phantasmagoria?
No, sorry.
More
1789
Phantasmagoria
is the year of
hate,
the
and
French
welcome,
Revolution.
Shadowy Stranger.
A player can retire earlier if they want, but in 1789, all players are forced to retire, which I think stinks. An option should be included to play longer, indefinitely if we want.
It would have been nice, but as mentioned before, exploration plays like a board game, not a sim. So there are very definite goals and ending points for the game. But there isn't any one goal to be achieved in exploration. When a player's game is over, they're evaluated in 15 different categories.
Depending on how a player rates in all categories, they are given a final rating, which can be anywhere between pauper and royal advisor. The port is where you begin the founding of your empire. This is where the most
exactly.
important game
It's
functions
I
take
want to talk to TK, but I know that I'm just going to be like, man, Phantasmagoria wasn't that bad, and he'll be like, please don't interview me.
Banker, trader, church, political center, and the historian can be found in every port, regardless of the country, although the port itself looks different.
If you want to go to the bank, you just click on the bank building. If you want to go to the trader, you click on the trader's store.
This is a nice interface, which works very well. All transactions and decisions are made with the mouse, so it's very simple to accomplish things in port. Once you get your ship outfitted with the men and supplies you need for a voyage, you set off to discover the new world. As a turn-based game, each ship has a certain number of spaces that it can sail during a single turn.
As ship technology increases, the number of spaces a ship can travel will increase. The only problem is that it doesn't matter how much cargo you're carrying on board, the distance your ship can travel always stays the same.
At the beginning of the game, the only thing that shows on your map is your home country and port. All else is black. As you sail into unknown regions, these areas are permanently added to your map.
You basically pick a direction to sail in and go until you run into land.
Okay.
Most land masses have natives living on them, their towns being represented by teepees.
When you see a teepee, you have to launch a land expedition in order to negotiate with them. Trinkets, which are bought at port, are used in dealing with each native town.
Negotiating is nothing but giving the chief the number of trinkets that he wants. If you have enough trinkets on hand, the chief accepts your trade, and his town becomes a colony for your country.
If you don't have enough trinkets,
have enough Funko Pops, and you can take over the world.
Or you can fight the natives. Fighting results in deaths on both sides.
I actually don't know what the new trinkets are. I guess they still exist.
One huge problem I had with this game is the lack of options when dealing with Incan cities. Real quick, the Incas were... Yes, Jack?
They were those guys that worked in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Nope, sorry. Bob?
They were a race of people who put the color in comic book drawings?
Oh, no. Jerry?
Are you sure they weren't the guys that worked for Willy Wonka?
Oh, we're sure. The Incas were the race of natives that had a great empire of their own in the New World.
When an Incan city is discovered, you'd think you'd have the option to trade with them just like any other city, right? Well, in exploration, you have no other option than to fight the Incas for their city.
No, I don't want to fight the Incas.
Why'd they do it like that?
The reasoning behind this horrible feature is that historically, the discoverers always fought the Incas for their land. So that's what you, the player, are limited to doing.
Well, I don't wanna.
Awful. There should at least be a game option of trading.
Let me give them trinkets.
I got a PC game where there are
I got Minion figures. Someone's got to want those, right?
The history books quite so
Sorry, I was going through my closet and I found more Minions figures, so I put them on my desk.
Than a gaming choice. Once a colony is established, the player has a variety of options open to him. Cotton, tobacco, and sugar plantations can be built, or mining operations for ore, silver, and gold can be established.
There are certain geographic and population attributes that affect where you want to build. Plantations require water and 100 colonists to operate most efficiently, while mines require mountains and 250 colonists for best results.
These businesses provide a steady source of income for your country, since all you have to do is pick up the products and sail back to a port where they can be sold.
Other items can be built, such as warehouses for product storage and churches which keep you from becoming excommunicated. When a town's population becomes big enough, it can be upgraded to a fort or a port. The game goes on like this turn after turn, colonizing, building, selling what's produced, and buying more ships. The tough part is when the other players start to get into your territory.
Wars always break out,
nice
which usually
stream
means the loss
streak.
of ships and
Thank
territory.
you for watching.
It is possible to declare peace with another country, but that costs money and is usually
Can't we just
a
like
selling
sink
technique
Christopher
in order to rebuild
Columbus?
forces.
The computer is actually a pretty good opponent, but for the
Put that
ultimate
guy in the
experience,
ocean.
exploration can be played with up to 4 human players.
But keep in mind that this is a turn-based game. When lots of players get involved, the game can move very slowly.
The computer makes moves in almost no time at all, but humans have to check prices, look at the map, make complicated decisions, and that slows the game down quite a bit.
The graphics aren't that impressive, but they aren't bad at all. The animations
Are they tossing someone overboard?
Yeah. The same animation pops up every time an event like a fire happens. It really detracted from the game. While the animations were choppy, the graphics weren't so bad, but after you see the exact same thing for the same event, it gets old quick. But the rest of the graphics were decent. You don't need the greatest graphics in the world to still have a good strategy game.
And that's exactly what Exploration is, a good strategy game. If you ever played Master of Orion, you already have a good feel for this game. While it's not exactly on the same level as Orion, they play a lot alike.
Once you get into it, you'll find yourself putting off a lot of other things, telling yourself that you want just one more turn. It's a fun, addictive game, even with its flaws.
All right, but
games involve.
What are the pros?
It's a fun, addictive game that has been well thought out. It's got a decent amount of depth to it, but never bogs the player down with a lot of details.
And the cons?
The graphics are nothing special, and there's a disturbing lack of interaction ability in certain aspects of the game.
We should also try High Seas Trader, Colonization makes sense, and Master of Orion. Okay. Next up, Heroes of Might and Magic.
Boy.
Yes, my liege?
Do you see this box?
I don't like that voice.
I want you to take this box, play the game which lies within, and give me your opinion of it.
But what is it, my lord?
It's a new strategy game from New World Computing called Heroes of Might and Magic.
I tried it, my liege.
And?
Well, it was fun.
Well, it was fun. That's it? Come on, you can do better than that. Did you like the way you could choose from a variety of different game styles, from campaign to multiplayer network games? And did you appreciate the fact that you could set the intelligence level of up to 4 different opponents?
That was good. Yes, that was good.
Come now, don't hold back, boy. Tell me what you thought.
Okay, I liked the fact that everything could be controlled using the mouse, and the way the cursor changed to show you whether you could move to a location and how long it would take. In fact, it was so easy to learn that I wouldn't have even cracked the manual open, except I knew you would have whipped me.
Come now, boy. I never whipped you, but that you deserved it.
I'm the king of
Enough
multimedia.
of that. Tell me about the sorts of things you do in the game.
Well,
no. These are all archived on archive.org. You can get every issue of this on archive.org.
You dispatch these heroes to gather resources, take controls of mines that produce new resources,
This is how
and
it
defeat enemy
sounds.
armies. Your heroes can increase in experience, which increases their attack and defense skills. This makes their armies better at attacking and defending. They also get better at casting spells.
Very good, boy, but you neglected to point out that you can spend those resources to build new dwellings in your castles and towns. Then, at the end of each week, each dwelling produces a specified number of that particular type of creature associated with it. This is simplistic, but does what it needs to.
Just like you.
What's that?
Just cleared my throat, my lord. To win the game, you've got to kick the butt of the other warlords in the game. You can recruit up to 8 different heroes to do this.
Cool
and they can find
warlock.
artifacts which will make them bigger and meaner. There's also an ultimate artifact, which you can find by collecting pieces of a map which are found on obelisks scattered throughout the land. Equip one of your heroes with this, and it will make you Big Chief Badass.
Do you not like this bit, Danny?
Summation, my boy. And what
I
did you
can't
think
do
of
the nerd
combat?
voice.
Well,
I think it's because my voice naturally sounds like
It
this.
doesn't really allow for true military tactics, but it's consistent at least. It can be mastered. It just tends to be a little unpredictable.
I like the
which is
horse.
fine. If every battle could be taken for granted, this game wouldn't be interesting.
You think so, eh? Well, fire up the LAN and we'll play a game or two.
You and me, my lord?
Yes, boy. Right now.
Well, I have to say that I really enjoyed that. Heroes of Might and Magic is quite a good strategy game. A little light on the management part, and the combat's in a world of its own, but fun and quite challenging. The SVGA graphics are pretty, the gameplay's entertaining, and there really isn't anything bad I can say about it. At least, nothing so bad that would prevent me from recommending that any strategy fan try it. There, my lord. It's all right.
You crushed me, a mere boy, and you destroyed me.
Call me sir.
Some interesting dynamics in that review. Pros.
The SVGA graphics are extremely attractive.
They are.
The game is child's play to learn and control, but this doesn't prevent it from being extremely challenging.
And the cons?
The combat doesn't really allow for much in the way of realism in its tactics, and so can be rather frustrating.
We should also try Hammer of the Gods, Masters of Magic and Fantasy Empires. But next up, it's time for Hexen. No, Hexen. There we go.
Unfortunately, last year's release of Heretic was lost on a lot of people thanks to an absolute deluge of wannabe dooms. Heretic was no imitation, but the genuine article, an excellent collaboration between Raven Software and the Game Masters at id Software. But on October
Misheard it
30th,
as the
Devil's
Game
Night,
Masters,
it'll be much
which
harder for
is
players to ignore
be the group
Hexen
I'm a
beyond
member
Heretic.
of.
It's final and clinching proof that even after 2 years of rabid competition, no one can touch id when it comes to first-person action. The plot is always secondary in this kind of kill fest, but here it is. If you made it all the way to the end of Heretic, you got to face off against the jerk who was causing all the problems in the first place, Disparol, the Serpent Rider. Well, it turns out that Disparol was a real weenie compared to Korax, the new troublemaker in town. This guy has actually managed to do what bad guys and lab rats everywhere dream of, take over the world. Well, almost. There are still 3 heroes holding out against Korax's vicious serpentine attack: the Warrior, the Mage, and the Cleric. In single-player mode, you get to choose which of these guys you want to play to try to bring the snake in the grass to his knees. Each of the characters has different combat preferences. The Warrior doesn't use much magic, but he's a real bear at hand-to-hand blade matches. The Mage may look skinny and weak, but his prowess with spells deserves some respect. The Cleric walks the line between spine-cracking and spellcasting. Your choice of character also affects what monsters you'll fight and what items you'll discover along the way, thus tripling the replay value. In multiplayer cooperative mode, the 3 character classes are able to bolster each other.
That's a lot of blood.
As in RPGs like AD&D, the party chooses a marching order so the mage won't get blasted by the first wave of fire, and the warrior can charge right into battle. Of course, if the players choose not to cooperate, it will add a lot more variety to Deathmatch. Each class uses a different set of weapons, like the warrior's magical hammer or the cleric's poisonous serpent staff. All of the weapons are charged with mana, so you won't have to track down specialized ammo for each one. The 30 levels in Hexen are not just static locations. Dead leaves blow across the landscape. The fog thickens. Rain falls.
What is going on here?
There are earthquakes and
is he like a minotaur of some sort? Because it looks like he's standing there and then there's a second guy who's only like this, sucking his butt. Sorry, it looks like he's getting his butt sucked.
A switch on one level can pop open a door on a different level. You can actually go back to a level you've already left. Heretic was already chock full of interesting magical artifacts to pick up. The best of these will also be in Hexen,
good artifacts.
Like the ever-popular Morph Ovum. But there's a lot of brand new items too. The Displacement Missile is a variation on the Chaos device from Heretic, but instead of teleporting yourself back to the beginning of a level, it zaps your enemy away. There are also statuettes of monsters that summon one to fight for your side for a minute. And the Morph Ovum now has a counterpart that turns the enemy into a pig instead of a chicken. One of Heretic's strongest suits was its careful use of sound. While games like Doom had each monster create its own distinctive shriek in a radius from its location, the noises made by Heretic monsters were deliberately placed for maximum spookiness. The same thing is true of Hexen, but the sounds are vastly improved and far more frightening. Some of the monsters are also designed with suspense in mind. For example, there is a sea monster that is usually just seen as a few scaly
Hey, I'm a sea monster.
Get too close, and the beast springs into your face just long enough to deliver a razor-clawed attack and then submerge again. From a marketing standpoint, Hexen Beyond Heretic will follow the example of Doom 2 and be primarily available in stores with no shareware release. The October 30th release will be marked by the world's largest online deathmatch tournament. According to id, Hexen will be the last use of the Doom engine, and so it carries the technology as far as it can go. Be sure to grab your copy fast.
All right, grab your copy of Hexen. But first, let's see In the First Degree.
Please raise your right hand. Your other right hand.
Time for
bits. The whole
bits.
truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please be seated.
Would the bailiff kindly hand the witness People's Evidence marked 27A? Thank you. Can you please describe what you are holding for me?
It's a computer game called In the First Degree, recently released by Broderbund Software.
Have you ever seen this game before?
Yes.
Played it?
Yes.
Can you give us your impression of it?
Well, since it's a digitized video product, I've fully expected to be disappointed. Much to my surprise, I wasn't, not even remotely.
I see. For the benefit of the jury, could you briefly describe your experience with this game?
When I booted it up, it showed me a couple of short movie segments describing the situation. Gallery owner Zachary Barnes had been shot to death by his business partner, James Tobin. It also established that I was playing prosecuting district attorney G. Sterling Granger, and it was my job to uncover the truth and, should I determine that any wrongdoing was involved, to prosecute the culprit to the full extent of the law.
Then what happened?
Then my assistant gave me a bunch of taped interviews with all the witnesses, transcripts of their statements, and photos of the crime scenes. I pored over this material trying to get a feel for the situation. I then had to interview the 3 key witnesses in preparation for the trial and question them during the trial itself.
And what did you think
I should
of all
play
this?
this.
Was
Let me
it an
add this to my
interesting
list.
Story, or just a bunch of multimedia gimmickry?
The story's pretty good, and the production value's high. The writing is generally good, and the dialogue mostly believable. The actors carry it off with reasonable flair. There are no big-time names, but at their best, the acting is as good as any I've seen during prime time. The only problem I ran into was when different branches of the script led to different emotional states for the characters, then branched to radically different states suddenly. There's a disjunction there. Characters will be belligerent one minute, then kind and helpful the next. Fortunately, this effect isn't too pronounced and occurs only occasionally. On the other hand, characters do react to the way you treat them. Piss someone off, and they'll deliberately withhold information you need to obtain a conviction.
What about the technology? The digitized video? The graphics?
The digitized video was smooth and synced well with the digitized speech. There are some atmosphere shots, such as parts of the courtroom scenes where jurors are shown yawning, scratching themselves, and
See,
so
this
on.
seems amazing, right? I love the
game's
UE.
realistic feel by landing on the cutting room floor. As for the graphics, they're generally good. Most of the game is video, of course, but the occasional digitized still photos, including the ones used as video backgrounds, are gorgeous.
A lot of people have complained that there's no gameplay in interactive movies. How would you respond to that, Charles?
That's why they're
in the
good.
Context of In the First Degree.
I was really surprised at how good a game this is. There are some problems I have with the design, but overall, the designers have avoided a lot of the pitfalls into which so many alleged interactive movies have fallen. The best thing is, it's hard. I thought it was going to be a cakewalk, but the first time I played it, I made several gross blunders. Not only was the case dismissed, I got disbarred.
In your opinion, is that going to deter some gamers?
Maybe, but since it only takes an hour or two to play through the game in its entirety, I don't think it's a big deal. Plus, the game gives you some great pointers about what you did wrong, so the next time you play, you know what to focus on.
Earlier, you alluded to some problems with the script branching, and also with the design. Can you elaborate on these issues?
Actually, they're one and the same. The problem is in the interactive interviews with witnesses. First off, the questions are not written out exactly as you ask them. For instance, how was I to know that choosing suggest an alternative scenario meant I would coach the witness to lie on the stand?
That is serious.
Even more annoying is the fact that sometimes you ask questions and don't get the results you want, but you can't backtrack and try another tack. Fortunately, as I said,
I do like any game with a go to trial button.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, based on witness testimony, it is clear that this new game, In the First Degree, defies all expectations of it in that it is a good game. It is good looking, true. It does use digitized video footage. And it does involve branching question trees thinly disguised as interactive interviews. However, it does all of these things well, and the result is a game that is polished and fun to play. And that, I believe, is the bottom line.
Will that be all?
The people rest, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Interplay.
No, my friend. We need to know the pros and cons of In the First Degree. What are the pros?
The digitized video is excellent, the dialogue is very believable, the plot credible, the acting decent, and the gameplay far more entertaining than any previous title of this nature.
And the cons?
The branching of the question trees in the interactive interviews is sometimes jarring, disrupting suspension of disbelief.
And we should also try Johnny Mnemonic and LA Law reruns. Chat, when's the last time you've seen an episode of LA Law? Well, go watch it, because that's what they suggest. Okay, let's do... Did we already look at IndyCar Racing 2? Hold on, let me scroll down here. Did we already, or was it Sega Rally we looked at? Okay, I don't think we've seen IndyCar Racing 2. No, we did. Yeah, I think. Okay, Locus. What's
As
Locus?
a company, Zombie Software plans to develop games specifically geared at providing a virtual reality experience. One of their first efforts towards this goal is a game called Locus.
You've
It's a
never seen
first-person,
LA Law?
action-intensive,
Cool. Neither have
futuristic sports
I.
game involving hover bikes, weapons.
I
and
have
unlimited orbit
seen
around the
Cop
Earth.
Rock, though.
Locus takes place about 100 years in the future. The Earth has pretty much gone to pot, poverty is rampant, pollution is everywhere, and overcrowding is a real problem. Corporations have become super huge global powers, smaller nations have joined together to form their own superpowers, and the results are world powers known as metropoles. There isn't much fun or excitement being a metropole citizen, so sports, especially Locus, has become the escape for the world's population. Gameplay puts the player in the first-person perspective of a member of a Locus team. The object of Locus is to take a ball and put it into your opponent's goal, which is basically a hole in the floor of the arena. You see the front end of your bike.
I'm glad you links. It's so cool you showed off IE, and yeah, all the fucking bits.
When you grab a ball, the arrow changes.
Yeah, I've never
to show
heard of
the
this
direction
either.
of the goal. Once you find a ball, you just turn on your magnet, which attracts the ball and cradles it in the magnet. You then race towards your opponent's goal and fire the ball in. But things aren't quite as easy as they may sound. You can't just drive around with your magnet on all the time because your bike has a limited amount of energy. You're given an energy refill whenever you score a goal, and there are power beams which come down from the ceiling. All you have to do is drive through the beam to get a power-up. To make things even more difficult, all the bikes are equipped with lasers, which are used to knock the ball out of the ball carrier's magnet. The ball can also be knocked loose by ramming into the bike of the ball carrier.
Oh.
There are gadgets on
Goody-ooey.
certain levels which can either help or hurt the players. Gravity wells attract your bike and pull you off course whenever you drive by, and an item called the Afterblast gives your bike a surge of speed when you drive over it. Other gadgets like tractor beams and mines are also being planned for the final release. Virtual reality, the next step in realism for computer gamers, is what Locus is all about. You've seen those people on TV and in the movies wearing helmets and glasses which really put the player into the game. Until recently, this kind of technology has been out of the reach of the average consumer, but there are VR products reaching the marketplace.
Okay.
A lot of the recent action games have come out with VR capabilities, but no game until now has been built around the VR gear itself. The arenas are a big feature of Locus. Since they're in orbit around the Earth, the designs can be just about anything imaginable, and they tend to get a little strange looking. They come in the shape of dishes, spheres, capsules, and other forms that just don't have explanation.
Okay.
Because the action is often taking place all around you, not just to your side and behind, having the ability to see in any direction greatly helps your game. This is where the virtual reality technology comes in. Locus has been designed specifically for use with VR equipment. It is possible to play just using a monitor, but the point of Locus is to involve the player in a total virtual sports environment. Using equipment like the Forte VFX1 helmet and the virtual IO eyeglasses, the player can look up, down, left, right, anywhere they want to find out the location of teammates and opponents. When you combine the
early
VR,
VR,
with the network capability that allows up to 9 other human players,
This looks like this would make you nauseous in VR. You know what I mean?
sport in and of itself. Expect it to be released sometime around the 1st of November.
All right, Locus. But what about a Mega Man X?
Capcom's most popular hero, Mega Man, is finally making his appearance on the PC in the exciting new CD-ROM, Mega Man X.
Wait a minute. Mega Man X. Wasn't that a Super Nintendo cart?
Yes, he's the star of 8 different games for the NES and Super Nintendo, and a popular daytime cartoon series, and now all the excitement is finally available for your PC.
I was right, this is. It's exactly the same game from the SNES.
Blast your way through 10 different levels of excitement on your way to the fortress of the former Reploid hunter Sigma, now gone rogue.
Will you cut it out? This is exactly the same game Capcom released about a year ago on the Super Nintendo.
Okay, so I got a little carried away. I'm a big Mega Man fan, you know.
And there's good reason to be. The Mega Man games are a lot of cartoony fun. But let's have a reality check, okay? We're talking roughly 24 megs of material, including the demo for another Capcom game. That leaves how much space on the disc? About 636 megs?
In other words, they could have fit the entire Mega Man library onto that one disc.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's pretty damn inefficient, but it still doesn't
Reploid,
take away from this
yeah.
game being a heck of a lot of fun.
Okay, if you like it so much, why don't you do the plot summary?
Cool. Okay, there's this robot named Mega Man X, and he goes around blowing up evil robots and trying not to get killed.
Fair enough, but aren't you missing something?
Huh? Oh, yeah. The bosses are all based on animals.
Way to cover all the bases, comprehensive man.
Well, there's actually a couple of cool improvements since the last Mega Man I played. Your gun, the X-Buster, shoots at variable power settings. The longer you hold down the button, the bigger the burst when you let go.
That is a really nice feature. If you're far enough away from your opponent to dodge his missiles, you have the time to fire some serious zappage.
Also, for the first time, Mega Man can climb walls. This completely changes some of the strategy, especially in the closed-in rooms where the boss fights take place.
Frequently, the only way to accomplish a goal is by climbing the walls.
They've also added a lot of plot and personality to the situation.
You mean even more plot than you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, the characters talk and everything.
Well, the characters talk in that time-tested Super Nintendo way of putting a close-up on the screen and showing a scrollable caption. Remember, we're talking about a CD-ROM here. Why no digitized speech? Why the tiny window?
Because it would have cost more money and time before Capcom could release this supposedly new product?
Bingo.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. The box comes with a 6-button gamepad, free.
Yeah, a whole $14.95 value. What big spenders those Capcom folks are.
Hey, don't look a gift controller in the mouth, buddy.
Well, it is nice, but it's kind of overkill since Mega Man X only uses 4 buttons. In fact, I would say that the buttons on the pad are too close together to really work well for this game. The best way to play is by approximating the Doom standard interface on the keyboard.
But you will agree that the bosses are cool, right?
Oh, I'll go further than that. The bosses are way cool.
Thank you.
It may not belong on a PC CD-ROM, but there's no denying that this is a fun game. It's great running down the corridors trying to make your way to Storm Eagle, or Launch Octopus, or Spark Mandrill.
And the music's pretty kickin', right?
Well, once again, it hardly gives a Sound Blaster 16 a run for its money, but yes, the music is very well
I always
done.
like Armored Armadillo, I just want to say.
So really, your only problem with Mega Man X was that it was a SNES port.
Yeah, basically. They didn't even improve the save game feature for the PC version.
What do you mean? What's wrong with the save?
Well, just before going into the room with Chill Penguin, I naturally saved my game. When I lost, and lost bad, I tried to reload, but I started back at the beginning of the level.
Yeah, that stinks. But overall, Mega Man X is pretty cool, right?
Well, let me put it this way. It would make sense to buy this for the PC if you have no access to a SNES, but I hope that Capcom will consider the challenge of making a Mega Man PC, and soon.
Okay, they don't like the PC version, but what are the pros?
This is a fitting chapter in a very entertaining series. Mega Man X can climb
Fitting
walls
chapter,
and control
entertaining
the power of his
series.
shots, not to mention putting on bursts of great speed. There's also more character and plot than in the previous installments.
And the cons?
There was no reason to devote an entire CD to this piddling 24 meg package. You could have fit the entire Mega Man library and had room to spare, or made some technological improvements like digitized speech or an enhanced color palette.
We should also try Jazz Jackrabbit, Abuse, and Prince of Persia. I'm gonna nix the second one there, but Jazz Jackrabbit's pretty good. All right, what about NHL 96?
EA Sports presents NHL Hockey 96.
Abuse is a real game and it's pretty good? Okay.
Set standards for video gaming. But lately they seem to be outdoing themselves, especially EA Canada.
The consistent quality of the games they've been putting out, at least the last year, is right up there with the great gaming companies like Bullfrog. When an EA Sports game has come out lately, reviewing it has been just a formality because they're so well done.
Now we're starting to see EA games take on a more cohesive look. The sport may be different, whether it's hockey, golf, or basketball, but the style of the games, as far as the look, the sound, and the feel, is getting more and more consistent. Of course, this is the follow-up to NHL 95, which would lead one to think that NHL 96 is just a rehashing of 95. But the genius behind EA is their ability to take a game that's been done a million times before and make it feel like something that's brand new.
The goal of the designers of NHL 96 was to provide the most realistic feel of a hockey game possible on a PC. This is where the atmosphere becomes so important.
Instead of trying to make you feel as though you're right on the ice with the players, NHL 96 makes you feel like you're at home watching and controlling the game on TV. The announcer introduces the game from the home team's city.
Tonight from Detroit, we present the NHL exhibition game between the New Jersey Devils and the Detroit Red Wings.
And the starting lineups are given, making the whole thing feel like the EA Sports Cable Network. How they got
Yeah,
the
Mighty
announcers to
Ducks
combine all
mentioned.
the team player names into a sentence as seamlessly as they have, I'll never know. But it sounds about as live as it gets.
The look of the game is equally impressive, with all the player stats and penalties displayed on the screen in a broadcast style like you'd see on ESPN. I'm telling you, this game is as close to watching an actual live game as it gets. Plus, you get to play and not just watch.
And what a game it is. The play is the best I've ever experienced in a video hockey game. Even though the players don't look super realistic, they are extremely convincing when in motion.
No kidding. They skate, pass, shoot, stop, turn, and take off. Everything they do looks just like an actual NHL player. And this realistic look really translates into better control.
When I first started out, the controls felt sluggish, like I couldn't quite get my player to do what I wanted. This is because there's a lot more depth in controlling the players than just moving left and right.
These players can skate backwards, come to a skid stop, make a smooth arc across the ice, body check, poke check, hook, and all this is done with only 2 buttons. There's so much that can be done with the players in the game, it takes a while before you can become comfortable with the control.
But once you get a few games under your belt and practice these moves for a while, you'll be flying across the ice, making moves that even Wayne Gretzky would envy.
Now, there was a slight problem that I found.
A problem in this game? What did you find?
In the game of hockey, the teams use 4 different lines or groups of players to put on the ice at one time, instead of substituting individual players here and there.
Okay, that's the way the real game works. What's the problem?
My problem is that when you want to change the lines, and you're using a game controller other than the keyboard, the interface is very inconvenient. The 4 lines are displayed at the top of the screen, and the computer scrolls through the lines one by one. When the line you want is highlighted, you press your buttons to choose that line. If I want line 1 and the computer is on line 2, I have to wait for it to cycle through the other lines before it gets back to line 1. It is possible to tap a function key to get the line immediately, but using a controller means
I do
you're
like
just
the
going
ice
to have to wait.
reflections.
It
That's
really
nice.
interrupts the flow of the game.
How did a stinker of a function like that get into a game this good?
Yeah, I know, but it's just one of those functions that got under my skin more and more the longer I played it. I know it's a small thing, but why give the player control over just about everything in this game and then make them wait on the computer for a basic gameplay function? It boggles the mind. And in all honesty, it doesn't take that much away from the game, but it really bugged me. When the game first begins, you hear the final verse of the Star-Spangled Banner or Oh Canada, depending on where the game is being played.
Then the game spirals down to the ice for the initial face-off. While playing the game, you can switch between 11 different camera views, including a press box camera,
a view right on the ice itself,
and the basic NHL TV shot. You can switch on the fly between any of these views.
These views come in particularly handy during video playback. At any time during the game, you can pause the action and review
Cool
the
IE
last few
logo.
seconds of the
Bye.
game. If it's something you want to keep for future reference,
like that goal I made against you from center ice. So pretty. I'm just so pretty.
Oh, shut up. But you can save any of these plays on your hard drive and play them back from the preset camera views. Or you can manually place the camera on the puck or any player you want.
What really makes NHL 96 phenomenal is the fact that the guys at EA Canada really know what a CD-ROM is made for. First, let's talk about music and sound effects.
The music is CD quality, and it rocks!
The only trouble is that there aren't enough different tunes included. By the time I finished playing my first hockey game in NHL 96, I'd heard just about every tune in the game. But they still rock.
The music plays during all of the menus and stat screens, and during the game itself you hear that cheesy organ that we all love, along with all of the popular crowd chants you'd hear at a real NHL event.
The music is definitely great, but now let's talk about the sound effects.
It simply isn't possible to get sound effects better than what's in NHL 96. You hear all of the skaters around your player, and you hear it in stereo.
You hear the puck flying off the wall, the crowd boos and cheers at all the right times, and the body checks sound great.
One of the best things about having the NHL license is that EA was able to put in all of the current NHL teams and players. All of the players had their photos digitized into the game, so when you're checking out the team roster, you can see a sharp-looking picture.
And what's more, EA and Donruss have gotten together for NHL 96. Along with each player's picture, you can view their Donruss trading card as well.
A complete set of 342 high-res cards has been put into the game, for a total of 668 high-res photos in all.
But the cards aren't just in the game. There's a package of Donruss NHL trading cards packaged in every game of NHL 96. I love opening up a game and getting little extras like that. Little extras is what NHL 96 is all about. Everything you could want in a hockey game is in NHL 96.
Every little stat you could ever want to record is kept for each game, and it'll even keep your own personal playing stats regardless of what team you play as.
You can play in exhibition mode,
You can play a full season,
or you can play in the NHL playoffs. You can even play against another human over the modem.
the computer will even hand out awards after a tournament to all the best players and teams. I never knew there were so many different trophies, cups, and awards given out at the end of an NHL season, but they all seem to be here.
Sports games on the computer have entered into a great new era, and EA Sports is largely responsible for leading the way.
Right
Thank
now,
you,
there are no
EA
companies
Sports.
that can really compete with any of the latest sports stuff from EA, and there are darn few games overall from any genre that are as good as this stuff.
NHL 96 is EA at the top of its form. Everything has been done extremely well, from the music to the graphics, from the control of the players to the statistics that are kept.
But most importantly, it's fun. How many games out there look this good, sound this good, and are this much fun? Not many at all. But NHL 96 is one of the best.
Okay. But
EA Sports.
what are the pros?
Just about everything is good about this game. The graphics are sharp, the music rocks, and the gameplay is very realistic and fun.
And the cons?
The interface for changing lines is very awkward and frustrating, and scoring a goal is not easy at all.
We should also try Brett Hole Hockey and World Hockey 95. All right, let's check out Northlands.
QQP, known mostly for its strategy and war games, is developing a full-fledged role-playing game called Northlands. This isn't a traditional RPG, mainly because the designers decided to base their game on all of the elements they liked and disliked in the genre. The screenshots we're using in this preview are from a very early version of the game. The storyline isn't much different from other RPGs. A malevolent force is causing a lot of problems in the world of Northlands, and it's your duty as a great adventurer to find the source of the problem and take care of it. But while that's the main goal of the game, the designers wanted to create a world interesting enough to entice the player to hang around for a while, instead of concentrating solely on completing the game. To really draw the player into the Northlands world, QQP has made their role-playing universe a very dynamic, interactive, and totally non-linear place. The world of Northlands doesn't revolve around the actions of the player. The deer migrate in different times of the year, characters go about their own business, and that monster that you encounter in a cave might not necessarily be there the next time you enter the cave. And most everything is interactive, so if you see dishes on a table, you can pick them up and take them with you, even if they have no bearing on the game at all. The world of Northlands is also as vast as it is dynamic. If shown all at once, the surface area of the world would take up 20,000 screens, and that's not counting what the designers are putting in underneath the world. One of the main features in Northlands is that the player develops a reputation among all the other characters in the world. So if you want to be a boring goody-goody helping the helpless and protecting the nice guys, all the other good guy characters in the world will want to be your friend and help you out. On the other hand, if you want to commit the occasional criminal act and slaughter a village or two, you know, the fun stuff, then the more shadowy folks roaming around will want to get to know you. And the really neat thing is that there are advantages to both ways, as the game is winnable through both routes. The player is free to do whatever he wants in the Northlands universe, but the world and the people in it will react accordingly. Gameplay is pretty typical for an RPG. The player creates his own character. And
I like the name
wanders around the
Jeffro.
world,
I think that's a
gathering
good
more
name.
characters into the party, while completing smaller tasks on the way to completing the main goal. Northlands allows 8 characters at one time in the party, and along with those people, the player will also be able to hire around 10 additional mercenaries, who will have no part in gameplay except during combat. You can choose what kind of mercenary you want, like a swordsman or a spearman, but beyond that, they're just hired muscle. One of the biggest departures from traditional
Yeah, it's a
RPGs is the
strange
fact that there's no class
angle.
system at all
It's
in
like
Northlands. No one
it's
is
like we're flying
classified as,
above
say, a
them.
fighter or cleric. Instead, everyone is rated simply by attribute points. So if someone has a high magic rating at the beginning, there's nothing stopping the player from developing that character into a great fighter as well. There are no limitations on what each character can do or learn. But don't worry, the developers are still planning on throwing in lots of spells and weapons.
Oh, thank
Along with
God.
a library of spells, there are going to be around 30 to 40 varieties of weapons. And there's going to be lots of chances to use them as well. When entering combat, the player gives assignments to the characters in their party as to who to attack, and strategic commands like formations and flanking maneuvers will also be available. Incorporating a living universe into such a vast gaming area while still providing a high level of freedom and interaction for the player is a big project to take on. And when you consider that QQP is also planning on adding a CD quality soundtrack while putting everything in one solitary lonely little CD, it becomes an even more forbidding task, but with great potential. QQP still has a while to put it all together, though, since the planned release date is in early '96.
Okay, so get hyped for Northlands. All right, what was after Northlands here? Oh, Panic in the Park.
Ah, the Carney life. The lilt of calliope music, the rhythm of the barker's patter.
The nauseating, ever-present smell of stale cotton candy and farm animals.
For those of you looking for the ultimate virtual sideshow experience, complete with pushy vendors, skeet ball, and a mystery to be solved.
Zoink Scoop! It was the park manager all along!
Check out Panic in the Park, the new interactive adventure game from Warner Active and Imagination Pilots.
We got more bits!
It's the same people who did Blown Away! Runs away screaming!
That's not a line, that's a stage direction.
What? Runs away? Oh! Ah!
The good news is that Imagination Pilots are definitely getting better at what they do. Panic in the Park has a much better selection of games than Blown Away.
Of course, that really wouldn't take much now, would it?
The digital video segments are very well done. Kind of campy and surreal in a good way.
That's a good thing, since it takes up so much of the game.
Yeah, this is a 3 CD-ROM monster.
Well, by today's standards, 3 CDs can't really be called a monster anymore. 7 CDs, that's a monster. 3 CDs is more like a mid-size.
So there's these twins, you see.
Oh, I like a game that starts with twins, especially when they're both played by Erica Eleniak.
Their father was the owner of Skyview Amusement Park. He always said he was going to give the park to its employees when he died.
Yeah, I want to play this too. I'm adding it to the list.
Stolen. One twin,
the good twin,
wants to follow her father's wishes, while the other
Panic
twin, the evil twin,
wants to tear down the park and sell the land.
You're a newspaper reporter and a friend of the good twin, and she asks for your help to find the deed.
So what are you gonna do? Turn down Erica Eleniak?
In order to find the deed and the thief, you have to go to the park and get information from the vendors.
And they are a weird bunch of people. You start with 10 tokens.
Supplied by the good twin.
Okay, cut that out. Anyway, you start with 10 tokens, and in order to get more and win the confidence of the vendors, you have to play their games and win.
The games are very appropriate to the carnival setting. You got your skee ball, your mechanical claw game.
You got your dart throwing game and your gopher smashing game.
All kinds of really tricky and subtle games going on here.
And just like in real carnival games, you may get easily discouraged by how difficult the things are to win, and you may leave with the distinct feeling that they're rigged.
You see, it's usually not the games that are the problem. They're all pretty good ideas. The trouble is that the interface is all mouse-based.
Boy, I bet you never thought you'd hear someone complaining that a game uses the mouse too much.
It's not that they use it too much, they just use it wrong. For throwing darts, for example, you sort of scoot your mouse forward to throw. That's it. No clicking, just pushing. It's up to whatever arcane program they've devised to figure out when to let go of the dart.
Also, if your mouse is a little slow and unpredictable, it's going to affect your score in a big way.
The same thing is true of this skee ball and a few others. The flick of the wrist idea is a lousy way to do things.
Beyond the mouse problem, none of the games here were particularly bad. Given Blown Away, that was a really nice surprise.
And there was at least one game that was really
Yeah, where's
great.
Ripper Ribbit?
This is Crazy Coin. There's all these belts moving in alternating directions, and they're covered with bumps and holes and things. You want to flip a coin tiddlywink style from belt to belt until you get it into the cup at the top.
Yeah, this would have made a pretty good game on its own. It's lots of fun and doesn't require the almost impossible intricacy of some of the other games.
Once you win enough games, you get special coins from the vendors so you can play the Oracle puzzle. Solve that and you get to go under the park and eavesdrop on some of the characters for clues.
This whole mystery plot thing seemed really contrived. I mean, even when you find the deed, you don't really win until you solve the crime. I know that's real nice and oozing with closure, but let's face it, it shouldn't be your job at all.
Yeah, but there are a couple of extra levels to the game this way. It adds more challenge.
You want more challenge than the dart game? No thanks. I think I'll just pick my games individually and avoid the whole plot thing altogether.
Well, you can do that too. Choose your favorites and play as often as you like with no worries about tokens or oracles or Scooby-Doo type mysteries.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for them nosy kids.
terrible
While it's certainly not a
impersonation.
classic, Panic in the Park is still quite entertaining if you can stand the cheesy plot
and the awkward mouse controls.
And facing major verbal abuse from the characters every time you lose a round.
You'll probably have a pretty good time.
And you'll get 2 Ericas for the price of 1. Roar.
Anyways, let's check out the pros.
While the acting gets pretty outrageous and over the top, the directing is superb. It all
Rawr, yeah, exactly.
Twin Peaksy kind of way. The Crazy Coin gamelet is truly excellent.
And the cons?
The no-button mouse jostling interface on a lot of these games has got to go. It's just plain frustrating.
We should also try Blown Away and Hodge and Podge. Blown Away is actually definitely on my list too, so... Alright, it's time for paparazzi.
Okay, quick quiz. What's the lowest life form on Earth?
A maggot on a slug's butt?
No, you're not thinking low enough.
Oh, you mean the guys who take pictures for the National Enquirer?
Good call. They're called paparazzi, which is Italian for a painful wart between your toes.
Ow! Ow! I've got a big, ugly paparazzi! Okay, now what's the deal? There's a lot of digital video here of people who may or may not look anything like celebrities, and they're mugging shamelessly for the camera. This doesn't seem like a very realistic simulation.
It's not a simulation, you goofball, it's comedy. The mugging you're talking about is called shtick, and it's guaranteed to produce side-splitting, big-time belly laughs.
Comedy, huh? Kind of a Saturday Night Live-y sort of thing?
These people would kill to be as funny as Saturday Night Live, which is really kind of sad when you think about it.
But there's a game, too. Wow, comedy and a game. Two thingies in one.
Well, sort of.
I do kind of want to... I added this to my list as well. This looks fascinating.
That ain't good.
And the really unfortunate thing is, I don't think it could have been made any better. The design is about as good as it can get. It's like trying to build a house with nothing but Jell-O. It doesn't matter how careful you make the plans, it's not going to stand up to inhabitants very well.
And that's not even addressing the privacy issues. You can see right through that stuff.
You are a scum-of-the-earth celebrity photographer.
So's your mama.
In the game, nitwit. You have to try to establish yourself by taking pictures of all 24 stars in Tinseltown in just 2 short weeks. Each day gives you 4 chances to take those great shots, 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening.
There are 13 locations to visit in Tinseltown according to this map. How can they possibly expect you to catch a star with those odds?
Well, you're not alone. There are 6 paparazzi that you can play, and you can change at any time. So if you miss your big opportunity on the first try, take another sleazeball and try again. There are, in fact, shades of difference between the sleazeballs involved.
You mean some bottom feeders are more loathsome than others?
Exactly. On your score screen, you have an integrity rating that goes right below the amount of money you make.
Just like it probably does in your priority system.
You can keep your reputation intact by dealing with reputable magazines, like Rocking Stone here. But if you always
Rockin'
sell to the highest bidder, you could
Stone.
end up actually blackmailing people.
And this is a bad thing?
Well, if you're considered to be really the sleaziest of the sleazy, no one will give you tips anymore, and you can actually get ridden out of town.
Hey, if you've got the money, why should that matter?
You know something? You may be really good at this game.
So what's the TV for? You have time to be watching the tube when you should be out earning a living with your filthy Western ways?
Actually, the TV and your answering machine are very useful for supplying clues, from the straightforward to the downright cryptic.
The 6 television channels also supply the funniest moments. Not everything there is useful by a long shot. There's the Fireplace channel, a never-ending fishing show, things like that.
But paparazzi just doesn't fill the bill as either a game or a comedy. The footage frequently looks amateurish, and so does the acting.
Now wait a minute, I thought you said that mugging for the camera was a good thing. Belly laughs, stuff like that.
It's only good if combined with a certain elusive thing called timing. It does pop up here every now and then, but overall this is not worth the price of admission. Rent a tape or something.
Okay, not a fan, shockingly enough. What are the pros?
The video quality is pretty decent and the interface is quite easy to work with. The clues run a goodly range from obvious to very cryptic.
And the cons?
While the design is good, the base material is almost unworkable. Amateurish camera work and widely varying performances destroy an otherwise pretty funny script.
We should also try Salmon Max Hit the Road and Day of the Tentacle. A little bit different, but okay. All right, it's time for Pitfall. The Mine Invent. No, we're doing Pitfall, baby. Pitfall,
Hexagon
baby.
Witch just
Pitfall.
rated with 14 viewers.
Hexagon Witch, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you. We're going through issue 19 of Interactive Entertainment.
That had to hurt.
Pitfall Harry made it look so easy.
Dude, Pitfall Harry was made up of about 32 big blocky pixels. No brain, no pain, you know?
Not anymore. Activision has released Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure, its sequel to the classic Atari 2600 game.
Oh, we're
Pitfall.
having a good time.
Available earlier this year for SNES and Genesis, the game has been ported to Windows 95. As such, it's the first major release from Microsoft's new OS, and it really puts 95 through its paces.
Platform game for Windows 95? Sucks, huh?
Actually, no.
You mean it doesn't drag along at a snail's pace?
It doesn't
Nope.
suck.
Truth be told, it felt just like playing a DOS game, except it was easier to install, easier to set up, and I could still tell what time it was while playing it. Installing Pitfall is painfully tricky. Step 1, put the disc in the drive. Step 2, play the game.
That's it? Cool.
And you thought that whole autoplay thing was a load of crap.
I was wrong, I admit it. Actually, what's even cooler is that tabbed property sheet. It lets you resize the screen, choose
tab
sound
property
options,
sheet.
set the game difficulty, and so on. You have no idea how many times I've longed for such a simple setup option in DOS games. After you've played Hunt the Hotkey a billion times or so, this is pure bliss.
What I really liked was the keyboard control. I was expecting it to be really difficult, but then I thought the same thing of Wolfenstein 3D. As it turns out, using the keyboard is no harder than using a gamepad, and I didn't have a case of numb thumb afterwards. But if you don't like it, you can plug in a joystick or pad.
What's the story about?
Does there need to be a story? You run around, jump over obstacles, and shoot enemies. There's the story. Okay. You actually play the son of the legendary explorer Pitfall Harry. The originals disappeared, and it's up to Harry Jr. to rescue him, with a little help from you. As such, you run, jump, and shoot your way through 14 levels, ranging from Mayan temples to raging cataracts.
You mean Pitfall Harry's gone blind?
The levels are enormous, featuring
Well,
numerous
if you hear
vines to
that,
climb, zip
Bella
lines
has
to
woken
slide
up
down, waterfalls,
and is
flaming
hanging
things to
out
dodge,
on the
spider
back of my
webs to
chair.
bounce on, and bungees to spring off of.
I'm gonna see if she'll get.
Bad guys, too, it
she's on my shoulder now.
Skeletons,
Gonna get in my lap, baby girl.
jaguars, animated images of
Yes,
Mayan
okay.
warriors, birds,
Sure,
bugs,
come over.
monkeys.
Okay, they get the point. There are also a lot of secret areas, but
Okay,
they're not all that
she's
difficult to find, so don't expect to have to replay
my
the
lap
game.
now.
The good news is, however, that
Aw.
once you've solved a level,
Sorry
you
if
can
her
return
tail
to it at
hits
will,
the,
thanks to a miraculous invention called a hard drive.
hits the
Don't you wish your
mic.
Saturn had one.
Whoa, time warp.
Yeah, this is one really cool part of the game. There's a place in the Copen Temple where you can warp back to the original Atari 2600 Pitfall, no doubt courtesy of the 2600 emulator featured recently in their 2600 action packs. You don't get that on the Genesis version.
Okay, she's now looking at the
All in all, Pitfall is a
OBS
very pleasant
window.
surprise.
You're gonna probably hear some
Platform games, the
bonking.
ones that weren't quite,
Okay.
that is, got
Yeah,
their
you
start
can
on
stay
home
here.
computers,
No, you can
then
stay
were
in the.
dominated
You
by
can.
the
Okay,
Nintendo
that's
set
fair.
in the late 80s. It's nice to see them returning
We
to
get
their
a
roots.
we get a good
Yeah,
shot of
let's
her
just
here.
hope the future offerings from Activision and other publishers are as high quality as this.
Okay, I got some shots of her in my lap. She's so baby. All right, but oh, she's purring. What are the pros?
Pitfall
Okay,
offers fast,
you can't have
smooth
Dr.
animation
Bum,
on a
Bella.
mid-range machine, a feat believed impossible under Windows merely 2 years ago.
Ah,
It
she's
also
just
features a
bonking
large,
into the
detailed
mic.
character sprite, lavish background graphics, and fast, fun gameplay.
Bella, please, Bella. Oh, I love you, girl.
Pitfall hitches occasionally.
No,
while keeping
we're not
sound
cutting
effects
stream.
on
She's got to see the
using
rest of
CD
this.
ambient sounds. It also has demonstrated occasional problems with full screen mode on some machines, although this may be attributed to running it on pre-release versions of Windows 95.
We should also try Load Runner and once again abuse. They really want me to abuse myself. I don't know about that. All right, what about Primal Rage?
With the advent of all these home entertainment and PC systems, who needs to go to a good old-fashioned arcade anymore?
It did look like the mall arcade was doomed when all these great PC products started coming out for home
The mall
use.
arcade was
Games
doomed
like
in the
Primal
2000s.
Rage
You're a
really
little too
helped
early,
keep the
bud.
coin-op arcade alive and kicking.
As far as new arcade games go, Primal Rage is the biggest hit in a long while.
But save those quarters because Primal Rage has just been adapted for home use.
Will people like it as much as the arcade? For those of you unfamiliar with the game, here's a quick rundown. A long time ago, before humans were walking around, there were these
Bella,
dinosaur
please,
gods,
please,
the embodiment of things like
don't
life
scent
and death,
Mark.
hunger and
Don't
survival,
scent Mark on the
And
mic.
as dinosaur gods go, these guys were really powerful and getting stronger all the time.
Okay.
They were always
There you
fighting and
go.
causing
There
all
you
kinds of
go.
problems.
Okay, we got
But
her back in my
because of the way
lap.
things were balanced, they all kept each other in check.
That's when a wizard from a parallel dimension.
I just knew parallel dimensions would get involved in this sometime.
Anyway, that's when this wizard saw what was going on down here on Earth and thought that it posed a threat to the rest of the galaxy. So he took one of these gods and put him in a prison in the middle of the moon.
Once that happened, everything
Sorry,
went
she's
crazy.
just-
Cosmic balance
She's
was
just
upset
having a
and
great
everything
old
pretty
time
much went
in
to
my
pot.
lap.
It's like your fan belt
I
breaking
love
while
you
you're
too,
doing
Bella.
150 miles
Bella,
an
what do you
hour.
think of
It's
Primal
like
Rage?
dropping an egg into a blender running at puree. It's like
We get the point. There was this giant explosion that killed most of the life on Earth and sent these gods into suspended animation. So that brings us up to now, present day, millions and millions of years later.
which is about the time that a giant meteor hurls from some corner of the galaxy, slamming into the Earth, destroying civilization as we know it.
Humans and other life still survive, but continents were rearranged and all our great technology has been lost. So humans are reduced to running around in loincloths.
Which ain't such a bad thing depending on who you're running around with.
Ahem. We're running around in loincloths, worshipping these gods, which have been awakened from their suspended animation. They're a bit grumpy over the way things have gone and proceed to
Bella.
fight each other again for total domination of the world.
You play as one of these dinosaur characters, each of which has a set of basic moves. In this case, upper and lower quick moves, and upper and lower fierce moves.
Each character also has unique special moves. Which
She
are
will not
executed
leave.
through
It's so
combinations of
cute.
Button presses and directional inputs.
Both combatants begin with a health bar at the top of the screen, which goes down with damage. When it's empty, you're dead.
There's also a brainstem bar showing how dazed each character is after being hit. When it reaches the bottom, your character becomes confused, basically just standing there totally open for attack.
But using this basic fighting structure, you gouge and claw your way past all of the other monsters.
One of the features that made Primal Rage so popular at the arcades were the graphics. Some of the dinosaurs are oddly shaped and they look and move very realistically.
This is due to the fact that the designers first developed these monsters as plastic models.
Yeah, I do
And those
like the way
models were
that this game
digitized
looks.
into
It
the
looks
game.
pretty
It looks
sick.
fantastic in the arcade. But what about home PC use?
Well, as you can see here, the graphics still look fantastic. The play is just as good as it was at the arcade, and the fact that you don't have to put in any more quarters makes it play pretty well.
The minimum machine that can handle this game is a 486 DX25. I played it on a P60 and it ran very smoothly.
Yeah, but I loaded all the files onto my hard drive, and there was still some small moments where the game paused while loading in information during gameplay.
Oh, don't gripe about that. Those were so few and far between it almost doesn't matter. The game played very smoothly. One of the best things about having Primal Rage at home are all of the extras that were added in. The only problem is that on a few
Sorry.
instances, it felt like they were still designed for use in the arcade.
I know what you mean. When I wanted to customize the time for each round, I could choose from 30 to 80 seconds, but I couldn't.
I
go
had
any
to
higher.
gently pick her
When I
up and
wanted to
move her
turn
from the
timer
desk.
off and
She
play the
just.
computer to the death each time, I could.
I put her blanket over a pillow so she's got a nice place to sit. And she's coming right back to my lap. That's fair. Cat on, not on my
But you
head. Cat
can
on my
adjust the difficulty
cat on my
with
lap.
16 different level settings. And when you play against another person, you can set a handicap level, making it easier or more difficult to kill someone.
And she's
Other
back.
extras that have been thrown
Full
in include the different
gore.
play modes, the most obvious, of course, being the arcade mode. This mode plays just like the original coin-op version.
Even right down to that insert coin message. But again, it plays almost too much like the original.
These arcade games are designed to get you to put quarters into the machine, so timers are put on things like the character selection screen and the screen where you put your initials.
But that timer made it onto this home version. Meaning even though
Boo.
you're playing at home with no one else waiting to play, you're still under pressure to select a character and put your initials in on time. It's not a good feature for a PC game.
Another great play mode included is the training mode. Since every character has its own fighting style and moves, it can take some time to get used to fighting a specific monster.
The training mode lets you take on the computer like you normally would, except that you play the same opponent every time. As you defeat that character, you move on to a new location, but the enemy is stronger.
This is a great way to play against that character at different difficulties, figuring out their moves and their fighting styles.
There's also the tug of war mode, which is only for 2 human players. The first
2
person to take
humans?
damage in the round,
Those
their
look
health
like
meter goes
dinosaurs
down.
to me.
But if the other character takes damage after that, The weaker character's meter goes up until it's full again, then the other meter starts going down.
You can't attack the primal rage, Bella. Oh, she's she's going for the screen.
So it's kind of like a tug-of-war, right? Another 2-player only mode is called Endurance. In this mode, the players pick 4 characters each. Then the players fight these characters in the order that they were chosen, and when one monster dies, the next chosen monster replaces him.
The first person to defeat all 4 of the other players' monsters wins.
What it all comes down to is this. If you liked Primal Rage in the arcades, then you'll be very happy with the home version.
If you're looking for a good fighting action game for the PC, you might want to be careful when considering this game. It's a fun game.
Yeah, she wants to dethrone the dinosaurs.
Might not be the most suited for home play.
Okay, but
with the
what are the pros?
It plays just like the arcade version, which means it has the same great graphics and same great playability.
And the cons?
Someone should have told these guys that people are going to be playing this at home. Lose the timers on the selection screens.
All right, we should also try any Mortal Kombat title, One Must Fall, 2097, and of course, FX Fighter. Good stuff. All right, let's see what's next. We got Quirks. This is just Puyo Puyo. This is just Puyo Puyo.
Spectrum Holobyte probably never stopped patting themselves on the back after bringing the world Tetris.
I know I wouldn't.
Not wanting to let go of a good cash crop, they recently established the Alexei Pajitnov
Oh, Bella just
Signature
disappeared. I
Line,
don't know where she is.
A series of abstract puzzle games endorsed by the creator of Tetris.
Yeah,
Quirks,
Quirks, huh?
All the different variations on the theme. Weltris, Facestris, Worldtris, Super Tetris.
But there are also a few completely new games, like Breakthrough and Clockworks.
Well, the latest Pajitnov game is out, and it's called Quirks. And the burning question on everyone's mind is this just another minor variation on Tetris, or a completely new cool thing?
And the answer is... well, heck, what is the darn answer anyway?
Well, if Quirks is a variation on anything, it's Dr. Mario.
Which is a variation on Tetris.
Exactly. See, there are these cute little bobbly things called Quirks.
Aww.
They come in several different colors, and they drop down into the playing field in pairs. You can rotate them to your heart's content, but eventually they land and you can't move them anymore.
Sounds like Tetris.
Except that if one side of a quirk pair lands higher than the other side, the dangling half drops off.
Ah, so quirks seek their own level.
If you get 4 or more
Quirks seek their
of the
own
same
level?
color touching each other horizontally
Like the
or vertically in
ooze.
any pattern, they all disappear.
Not just rows and columns?
Nope. Your pattern can be a crossy little thing like this and still vanish.
Well, that's cool. This doesn't look too difficult so far.
That's because you're looking at the practice mode.
Ooh, who's the critter in the middle?
That's one of 13 monsters that want to battle you for ultimate quirks
Twang.
domination.
So, are they any good at it?
Most of them are really good at it. In fact, this would be a good place to mention a key bit of strategy.
You mean how when you set up a series of cascading patterns, it makes the clear soap bubble quirks appear on your opponent's side?
Yeah, that was the one.
I think the monsters know that one pretty well, actually. But
Sorry, it's Quirks. I can't get over the fact that it's called Quirks.
That's when you come here to the puzzles game. There's a quirk pileup, and you have to get rid of it.
Actually, it looks like 2 quirk pileups.
No, this is what you have to solve. This is the lineup of quirk pairs in the order they're going to drop.
Oh, I see. I also noticed that there's no such thing as close in this part. You either eliminate every single quirk, or you lose.
It can get pretty challenging, but it is great practice for battling the computer or a human opponent.
Did you say human opponent?
Human?
Oh, like that's a surprise. These games always have a 2-player mode. Unfortunately, you can't play across a modem or anything, but you can both team up on the same keyboard.
Professor Gaskin, thank you for the 50 bits. Oh no, there's been an 8 quirk pileup on the highway.
In fact, let's talk about
Quirk
the
pileup is when they
challengers
try to do more than one bit at a time.
Ready to kick your butt.
The challengers each have their own.
There have been some bits this issue, but not as many as I was expecting.
Now, was it my
Last issue had the
or
most.
was this guy laughing at me a while ago when I lost?
No, that's what happened, all right. If a player is not doing very well, the animated image in the center starts obviously enjoying himself more and more until eventually, if the player loses, he laughs or wags his tail or does something to indicate it's been a really good day.
That's discouraging. Laughed at by a mutant fish.
But there's a very satisfying flip side as well. If the opponent starts losing ground, he very visibly starts getting nervous and freaking out. If the player wins, he cowers in shame or turns over on his back.
Okay, this is all very cool, but we've lost track
Yeah,
of the
I have to
original
see what
question.
these guys
Is
look like
Quartz
in
just another
motion.
Tetris variation.
Well, there's no denying the influence in the game design, but there is enough difference in the look and strategy to qualify Quirks as a different game.
So what you're saying is yes and no.
Pretty much. Anyway, even if this was just a Tetris variation, that's not such an awful thing. It's still a lot of fun to play. Overall, the Pajitnov line has maintained really high standards.
Yeah, it hasn't produced a clinker yet. Let's hear it for good old-fashioned Russian ingenuity.
The famously Russian Puyo Puyo, huh?
Spectrum.
The Pajitnov line continues to be one of Spectrum Holobyte's best investments to date. Alexei's smiling face is so far a real guarantee of quality. The clever visuals add a great deal to an already addictive game.
And the cons?
If you're not a fan of abstract puzzle games, you won't care for this. But then again, what would you be doing buying a Pajitnov title anyway?
Sure. We should also try Super Tetris, Breakthrough, and Clockworks. Any mention of any Puyo Puyo games? No? Okay. All right, it's time for Rapid Assault.
IBM is going full steam ahead with its new line of multimedia products. One of the titles that has been under production is Rapid Assault, a futuristic first-person shooter. The player chooses from a variety of high-tech, heavily armed vehicles to drive around in, shooting bad guys and accomplishing certain objectives. Rapid Assault isn't as single-minded as other games in the genre in that players can choose from different vehicles and also has a choice in the mode of play. It's a Doom on Wheels style of game that first-person action fans are bound to love. The engine in Rapid Assault is one of the smoother first-person engines we've seen. The beta version we got a hold of was very impressive, and it's sure to get better by the time it's totally finished. The vehicle that the player uses is central to the game. There are several different styles to choose from.
Well,
Each
she's
vehicle has
back.
its own
I thought I
strengths
heard
and
something.
weaknesses, with ratings in acceleration, agility, speed, and armor. Normally, the stronger the car, the less speed and agility it has. The faster the car, the more damage it takes when hit. Also, of the 4 cars available, 2 are hovercraft and 2 are on wheels, and this difference is definitely reflected in the way that they drive. The hovercraft will slide on turns, helpful in certain parts of the game, while the cars with wheels don't slide but can go in reverse.
Okay, then go in reverse.
Which vehicle you choose all depends on your
She's just
personal
chilling on the
playing
back of my chair. I don't think she's
There are
gonna
also 2
bonk on the
different
mic
modes of
again.
play. The normal game mode
Unless she
and
wants
arena
to. She
play.
can.
Normal gameplay consists
I can't
of giving
stop
the player
her.
a specific goal to accomplish. The area consists of roads, buildings, water, that kind of urban stuff.
That kind
An
of urban
average mission
stuff.
might consist of killing so many bad guys in a certain amount of time, racking up enough points to advance to the next level, or destroying specific targets. Once the main goal is accomplished, the player has to find the checkered flag that gets them to the next level. The arena mode of play is just what it sounds like. The player is placed in a closed arena with lots of bad guys and must complete a certain number of laps to win. Of course, all these bad guys will try to kill you before you complete the circuit enough times, but that's where choosing the right car becomes very important.
I do like the acronym
You
for
want to
cars is
blast your way through the
CARS
mountains, or
there.
you want to use speed and finesse
Cars.
to avoid their shot. You aren't exactly helpless on the road. Your vehicle has a shielded armor system that protects your ride from being destroyed very easily. A radar screen helps you find the bad guys, and an overhead map shows the streets and buildings of the area. On the offensive side of things, you have machine guns, lasers, mortar shells, and guided missiles. The machine guns are always full and ready to go, but the other weapons require reloading when depleted. And that brings us to the power-ups. All through the game areas in both the normal and arena modes are special power-ups you simply run over to give you advantages in all sorts of ways. You can get a time bonus, which puts more time on your clock, a repair bonus to fix your damage, a freeze bonus to temporarily paralyze your enemies, and nuke power-ups to simply blow them all to hell. In addition to tactical help, some bonuses add to your point total. A dice bonus gives you a random amount of points. A star power-up temporarily doubles your scoring ability. Of course, there are also the power-ups you need to refill your laser, mortar, and missile weapons. The bad guys come after you in all kinds of forms and from all directions. There are flying saucers, walking robots, enemy wheel-driven cars, and hovercraft. Some of the weapons are stationary gun positions that rise out of the ground and let you have it right after you drive by the previously empty location. They're well-designed and a little better looking than the stuff found in Doom. IBM is new at the entertainment side of software, but Rapid Assault looks to be a step in the right direction. It's a slick, fast shooter that has lots of action and enough variety to stay addictive and enjoyable. It's
Okay.
scheduled to be out sometime in October, so if it's not on your dealer shelves by the time you read this, expect it out very soon.
All right. Rapid Assault sounds pretty good, but what about Sail 95?
The America's Cup has finally made it to the PC in the form of Sail 95, the new yachting simulation from Vivid Simulations.
Well, if you're like me, your extent of knowledge about the America's Cup is watching the results on ESPN. I always had an image of a bunch of guys sitting around in smoking jackets saying, "Oh, Muffy," a lot. Then going out and sailing around while drinking stuff that costs more than my car.
Well, yachting is an expensive sport to get into, with the yachts costing into the millions of dollars, but there's a real science to sailing, and Sail 95 really delivers that with a vengeance.
Not being an aficionado of yachting, I needed to know a little about the basics
Oh,
before trying my
Muffy.
hand at Sail 95.
Fortunately for you, that stuff is covered in the Sail 95 manual.
And how? Maybe too much. I never realized that sailing was as scientific a sport as it is, but the manual reads like a physics textbook in parts. By normalizing the values for lift and drag to the magnitude of the total force acting on a standardized cylindrical foil, we obtain two coefficients, CL and CD, for lift and drag that we can directly compare with other values for different airfoils and or different alphas.
That's from the manual?
Straight from it. But don't worry, most of the manual is easier to read than this. But then again, what wouldn't be?
After our lessons in basic sailing, we finally get to the game itself.
Game Quarter, thank you so much for the 18, I should say, month resub.
If your system doesn't support that,
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
But if it does support it, the game is very pretty. The ships are nicely done, as are the water effects.
The playing screen
I guess maybe the water looks better in motion.
The overhead view, the remote camera view, and the cockpit view, which puts you right behind the wheel.
One problem is that every time you start up the game, Sail 95 takes a minute or so to load in graphic images. It may seem a small thing, but it really would have helped to find some way to avoid this. If all of this graphic might is taking a toll on your system's performance, the remote view and the cockpit view can both be frozen to make the game run faster.
But after all, this is a racing simulation, you know, where the boats head in the same direction for relatively long periods of times, with only the water and the other boat as scenery. Frame rates here aren't as important as other games. If you can manage about 4 frames per second, you're ready to go.
Sir, I have watched Doom. I have played Doom. I have played multiplayer Doom. This, sir, is no Doom.
The interface is about as easy as
again,
it could be.
good bit.
There's only one screen where actual sailing occurs, and the boat can be controlled by a joystick or mouse, a mouse being very easy to use.
The main things you control are the rudder and the sheeting angle. Keep in mind, though, an actual America's Cup yacht takes 16 people to run. When it's just you,
16 people?
Somewhat overwhelming.
I pretty much let the computer handle the sheeting angle while I steer the boat, which is no small task. With all of the angles involved in trying to sail in the best direction to win the race while catching the best wind, I never had time to mess with the angle of my sails.
The instrumentation is way more involved than I ever thought it would be for sailing. The gauges included in Sail 95 are about the most complex I've ever used in any PC racing sim. Maybe even more involved than in most flight sims.
They tell such diverse things as the angle of your sail, the direction to and from your opponent, the direction of the wind, the direction it feels like the wind is coming from, and
there's a difference between the direction of the actual wind and where it feels like it's coming from?
A big difference, and the fact that you didn't know that shows
I would
exactly
love
why
a
you
16-person
were always
multiplayer
the
mode where we all had to
loser.
work on a fucking yacht.
Anyway, there's a lot of sophisticated instrumentation used to sail your yacht. And while you do need this stuff to sail as fast as you can, I could never get over the feeling that all this stuff on a boat is like having a tachometer on a blender. You know, slight overkill. That's really not Sail 95's fault, though. That's just me.
But that's the main problem with this. While the program itself is basically fine, there just isn't enough involvement for one person sailing a boat to make it a successful PC sim.
I know that there's a lot of stuff to do on the yacht, but it's like the sheeting angles. It's there to control,
Your opponent
but
won by
trying to just
18
steer the
seconds.
boat
Better
in the
luck
correct
next
direction
time.
At the correct angle, you don't really have time to get into the more involved stuff like that. But when you're limited to just driving your boat, that's basically what this sim boils down to. Driving a boat.
And I think it's about time that we all ask ourselves, how exciting can driving a boat be? So we came up with a few suggestions to make Sail 95, and the America's Cup for that matter, more exciting.
First of all, cannons! Enough said.
Battering rams!
Outboard motors!
Boarding parties!
Our mateys!
Sail 95 is a well-done
Cool.
program that does about as much as you could with competitive sailing. I was surprised to find that while there are different types and lengths of courses to choose from, there was no tournament setup. It's only single racing.
But as far as the sailing itself is concerned, Sail 95 seems to have all the science of sailing down to an art. But it's sailing, you know? And after about 15 minutes of sailing on a PC, who's going to stick around to care?
Well, sailing lovers are probably going to like it a lot more than others, but I'd say if you aren't the kind of person that subscribes to the yachting channel, Sail 95 in all its glory is gonna be pretty boring.
Okay, but what are the pros?
The America's Cup has,
I said,
it looks great, has an easy-to-use interface, and has a lot of depth as far as how the boat interacts with the wind.
Home Improvement was so unavoidable, right? Like, Home Improvement kind of took over America for a while.
Unfortunately for the designer of Sail 95, he did a great job getting a simulation put together on sailing, but the sport itself doesn't lend itself to great gameplay on the PC.
And we should also try taking a cruise and watching the America's Cup on television. Listen, I'd love to take a cruise, but I would probably get diarrhea. All right, Shadows over River.
In the ranks of computer RPGs, the Realms of Arcania series has scored consistent high marks with players and critics alike. Now, Germany's Attic Entertainment and Surtech are putting the final touches on the latest installment of this popular saga, Shadows over Riva. This is the third and final
nice street game
installment of the
quoter. Thanks for
Northman's
watching.
trilogy, which also includes its predecessors, Blade of Destiny and Star Trail. To get the lowdown on this hardcore fantasy epic, IE went to Ogdensburg, New York, to talk with Attic's most famous member, Guido Henkel.
Well, basically the game starts off exactly at that point where Star Trail left, which means that the Orcish threat is still around, although the elves and the dwarves have combined their forces to go against the Orcish armies.
The elves and the dwarves have combined their forces?
That might be brought in from Star Trail into Shadows over Riva, now have the opportunity to find out what is really going on with the orcs, because it strikes them some way odd that the orcs suddenly grew so much intelligence to really go against mankind. And where did they get this intelligence from? It's one of the main objects in Shadows over Riva to find this out. Shadows over Riva basically is based in the city of Riva, where all the action takes place. And despite Star Trail, for example, where we had this really large traveling system, we dropped that one out completely. Actually, that was one of the points where people complained the most on Star Trail, that still the traveling system was in there, and it's very time consuming, and they didn't like it a lot. And that was why we decided, okay, let's get rid of this thing. It was a pain all the time to develop this traveling system anyhow. So this time we have this setting in the city with all those different dungeons, sewers, towers. And
I just want to say, if I was an elf or a dwarf, I wouldn't combine forces with anybody.
Still have
I'd combine forces with this guy is what I'd fucking do.
Which really hides all the attributes and character talents and skills and all that, which should make it fairly easy to get into the game. And we have the advanced mode where you have access to all those things. So it's really down to you how you want to get into the game. There's one track that...
who's this guy?
The problem is to find the track, the right track. You know, we have a lot of misleading information in there, which is a little different than in Star Trail, where people purposely put you on the wrong track. It's more like they don't know better. It's just they give you some piece of information which they think
I can't get over this guy. I love him.
Which you will eventually discover in the game. We have a new feature in there which allows you to delete information from the diary, which you couldn't do in Star Trail. So even if you gather too much information, it's not a problem to get rid of it afterwards again. But still, the diary basically is the same. We've changed one thing though in respect to the dialogues.
Cool dragon.
Because in the dialogues in Star Trail, you had to push a button whenever you wanted a certain piece of information to go into the diary. And it's been overused heavily, so people just gathered amounts and amounts of information they never used and wasn't useful to them anyhow. So this time we said, okay, we as the designers decide what makes it into the diary and not.
When Shadows over Riva is released in the first quarter of '96, it will also have improvements in the Star Trail dialogue system that will allow players to choose an attitude when asking a question, and will have NPCs recognizing the party when encountering them for the second time. Players can also expect a full CD audio orchestral soundtrack, complete with leitmotifs and mood shifts to fit the situation.
A lot of people ask us, once you finish the Northlands trilogy with Shadows over Riva, what will happen to the Realms of Arcania series? And well, we don't have plans on stopping developing Realms of Arcania series games. We haven't concrete plans on how they will look like and how they will feel like, how they will play. But one thing is sure, we will rework and redesign the whole thing. Because, you know, the engine is up there for 4 years now, and it's pretty much time to reconsider the whole situation and let ourselves and the game be influenced by
I saw the Amico connection there.
So maybe the fourth part of this.
I hope that their game they're making for the Amico gets to come out somewhere.
System like Windows 95 or whatever. We haven't decided on all that yet.
Okay. But what about SimTown?
Maxis puts another sim.
She's finally here.
With its latest entry.
Born Pleagranut, I plan on adding more of my streams to the YouTube archive this while I have some time off this month, so I will definitely be doing that. And welcome.
It's a more personal micromanagement approach to the SimCity idea.
The design of SimTown is almost identical to SimCity 2000. Using the same isometric design and grid structure. All of the tools are represented as icons on the left side of the screen, and all of the tool sub-choices are on the bottom of the screen. So if the player chooses to build a house, all of the house types are shown at the bottom.
Kids shouldn't have any problem with this interface and its simple point-and-click style. The icons are easy to understand. To place a building, all the player has to do is point where on the screen they want to place it. The only problem they might have is trying to build roads and
Mako, thank you for the raid.
to make the buildings disappear.
Basic gameplay stays true to the other SimCity
Mako
games,
Tensieved just
and
rated
there's
with
no
6
winning
viewers.
or losing. The player places different types of businesses and landscapes wherever they want in hopes of making the town grow. There's a wide variety of building types to use, which should help keep a kid's attention.
But the players
This is
can't
called
just build
SimCity
what they
Junior in
want
development,
wherever they
okay.
want. Each building has a certain use, and a certain amount of thought and consideration must go into the placement of
No, they don't usually. They usually have the lady doing a lot more of the reviews. I don't know why she's only on one review this
It's up to the
time.
player to decide how to solve the problem.
As you might see, the player will have to learn a bit of business theory to successfully play SimTown. But the game never tries to out it.
Town dump, smallest around.
Practical learning and trial and
I got a pretty small
player will
dump.
intuitively learn the business theories which drive an economy.
SimTown involves a lot more than just building a town. The natural resources that the town depends on must be managed as well. The resource screen shows the player the status of the town's water, crops, trees, air, and recycling plants.
The graphic interface shows the player the status of the resources in size and quality rather than just in number amounts. This is a great idea since it helps make it easier to understand the impact of decisions when the player can see the crops grow when money is put into that resource. Each month, the player receives credits which go into the management of these resources.
Whenever anything is placed in SimTown, a certain amount of resources is required to maintain it. The player must learn how to grow within their budget.
You explained Devil Dumper Doris to lawyer? Did they did they need to sue Doris or something?
Or if the air is clean.
Thrown into all of this is the Echo villain, who comes around every now and then and tries to steal the player's resources. Until this villain is caught, the player will be
Long
unable to
story,
grow
okay,
any
no
more of the
worries.
stolen resource.
Yeah, watch out,
SimTown's
Doris.
main strength is the ability to explore the town that's built. The player can zoom in on their town and click on special parts of each of the buildings called fun.
I kind of want to play SimTown. I'm going to add this to my list.
Hey, buddy, watch
Got a
out.
lot of games on my
The
list from this stream.
Anyway, whenever one of these spots is clicked on, a fun little animation will occur.
I especially enjoyed the popcorn popping in the glass dome of the futuristic house.
The designers really got it right with this feature. It allows the game to become a learning
Max's
tool rather than
showcase
just
stream wouldn't
ride
be a bad
simulation.
idea.
The
That's a
player
good
can
idea.
also design their own special character to exist in SimTown.
After choosing whether the character is a boy, girl, woman, or man, they're given a name, favorite food and activity, color of clothes, and what to say when they're happy or Dad.
I just wish there were more types of each character to choose between. There's only one boy, one girl, one woman, and one man to choose between.
Once you create,
Why was it all
doesn't seem to be
talking
much
about
to do
kissing
with it.
me?
There's not much interactivity other than reading the
Why was that
dialogue.
cop? Never mind. What do I know?
This feature does allow the player to get more drawn into the game, though, watching their sim do things like get a house and a job.
Another great feature of SimTown is the ability to print out the town in color.
It's quotes from Army of Darkness. Okay.
On the printer. The whole town can be printed out, or you can zoom on a section and print that out.
But the real fun is the ability to print in coloring book format. The town is printed only in outline, so the printout can be colored.
That's kind
I
of
love
sick.
it. There was never anything this cool when I was growing up.
That's kind of sick.
Overall, SimTown is a great game that kids are going to love, if they can only keep the grown-ups from playing it all the time.
But the brilliance of something like SimTown is not that it's linear like a paint-by-number scheme. There's an infinite number of combinations and possibilities available to build a town.
It's colorful and educational as well as entertaining, and all of the little hidden surprises will make for a lot of fun. If you've got a kid that's 8 to 12 years old, SimTown, that's a great program.
Okay. Excuse me. Let's go back to SimTown here and let's check out. Excuse me. I said, let's check out the SimTown pros.
SimTown actually makes an educational package a lot of fun. It's colorful.
You can print
and
out your
entertaining
overworld
while
maps and
educating the
more
player
of?
without straightforward teaching.
Holy shit. Okay, what are the cons?
Some of the actual mechanics of building might frustrate younger players.
Okay, you should also try SimCity 2000 and SimCity Classic. Oh yeah, we're doing good on our break. I'm looking for, we're going to the arcade tomorrow, so that's going to be cool. All right, let's check out Spycraft, the great game.
If you're going to design a game about a subject as intense as espionage, and you're going to do it well, you'd best go to the source. Thankfully, that's what Activision has done with their forthcoming title, Spycraft, the Great Game. They've not only employed the assistance of former CIA Director William Colby, they've recruited his
William
counterpart,
Colby?
Oleg Kalugin, a former Major General in the KGB.
Fake.
The story, which is being
Fake.
scripted by renowned news correspondent and author James Adams, puts you into the role of a rookie CIA agent in the tumultuous world of post-Cold War intelligence. From the beginning, the game was intended to emphasize a realistic view of the contemporary setting and intelligence activities conducted.
Hey Rachel, we're learning about Spycraft. Spycraft is boring and full of bugs. Cool.
Overall, the agenda of the game involves a forthcoming Russian presidential election. What Colby and Kalugin have contributed are their histories. Reflecting on their experience, the designers have sought to give
I don't know why. I don't know. I could defeat Colby. You know how you defeat Colby? Cheese grater.
Information, human error, and of course, luck.
After that France drop, we were stumbling around in a thunderstorm in a terrible situation. We were out of food. We were still 10, 15 miles away from where we were headed. And we heard some voices up there. So we tried to listen to see what language they spoke. Couldn't really tell. And the lightning flashes would show you territory. Here they went into a small little hut way out by itself, nowhere. And so we figured, well, we're in France, the chances are they're French and be reasonable. So the three of us there were three, two French and myself. We got up to the door and opened the door. Everything stilled inside. And the fellow finally came to the door and said, "Who is it?" "PA." And my friend,
Speak up, dude. You're in the CIA, not the teen anime dubbing squad.
Another pause. The door opened a little bit. My friend went in.
Oh my God, dude.
Stayed out, ready to go in and rescue him. He came back.
That's it. You're going in the cheese grater, Colby. I'm putting you over my roast sausage.
Who had gone to that isolated hut in order to crank up their radio to be in touch with London.
The game will require you to lead small, covert military operations such as commando raids and search and rescue. It will also involve some, shall we say, less intense forms of intelligence gathering. These range from forensic analysis of a bullet's
good
trajectory
face
to investigating someone's financial habits. Many of these will have the look and feel of traditional adventure game puzzles, so hardcore adventure gamers shouldn't feel left out. Much of the action in Spycraft is reproduced in video. The developers conducted a 19-day shoot which involved 60 crew members and 40 sets. Spycraft integrates a variety of different types of digitized video, still photography, and 3D rendering to create convincing facsimiles of key locations in the game. This includes CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, and Red Square in Moscow. The latter was particularly difficult to reproduce as it's illegal to photograph it from the air. Activision artists painstakingly reconstructed the site from available photographs in order to render it in 3D. Although we haven't yet been cleared for some of the more intimate details of Spycraft, such as specific information about its plot, it seems evident upon even the most casual appraisal that it will likely be the first spy game which bears any resemblance to true espionage. Spycraft will be available for Windows 95 in early 1996.
Okay. Stop doing that. Excuse me? What? Hold on. Hold on. Why? Sorry, my mouse is refusing to go over to the screen that I need it to. I'm just going to Alt-Tab over and see if it'll let me do that. There we go. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. All right. So, Spycraft, made with real spies. How about... Oh, we did that. How about Terminal Velocity, I think is what we're on next. Excuse me, I said Terminal Velocity. I said Terminal Velocity, you son of a gun!
Terminal Velocity is a great shareware game. It's right up there with Descent and Operation Body Count.
I don't know if it's quite an Operation Body Counts league, but it is a load of fun. The registered version's even better.
Yeah, it follows the Apogee model.
Luckily, Obscuratory Bella uses the toilet, uses the litter box very much. She is not an outside litter box girl.
1,000, but this is still a terrific game.
Terminal Velocity is set way off in the future. Humans have found other intelligent life, and we've formed a peaceful alliance.
Shiny, happy aliens holding hands.
Something like that. Except the Coalition's defense computers have gone crazy and are attacking Earth.
That means you get to blow up a lot of stuff. I don't need much justification for that.
Excuse
me.
me.
I heard those guys down the street talking trash about your mom.
Good, that means I can go kill them.
Terminal Velocity drops you straight into a war zone. As soon as you start, you're in some futuristic fighter plane and nobody wants you around.
If they don't like you, just kill them. You're not supposed to be sightseeing. Your fighter is designed to do one thing: destroy.
I will destroy you!
I got something for you.
And keep from getting destroyed. The craft you fly
They need Throg, honestly. There's been no Throg this issue.
Skim the planetary surface, even fly upside down.
All without going to flight classes or reading a 1,000-page manual. They don't make games much easier to jump into than this.
Naturally, your enemies will be varied and numerous. Each of the game's 9 3-stage missions have their own set of attackers. The sky will be full of hostile planes. Fortunately for you, none of them are all that smart.
Certainly not smart enough to flee. You'll have your fill of flying baddies, but you'll also have to keep one eye on the ground. Tanks, laser turrets, and other implements of tough love are just as dangerous as their airborne buddies, even if they're not as maneuverable.
Terminal Velocity is a fast-paced game of arcade combat. You won't have to deal with intricate flight models or a cockpit that fills the screen up with gauges. You just get up in the air and start blasting.
Lunch.
That's what I like most about this game. It's fun, simple to learn, and there's a lot of shooting.
This is no longer funny! Oh, yeah.
It's a flight game for the rest of us.
Jesus
it's like a flight
Christ.
sim without all the homework. The action never stops.
There are a variety of different landscapes in Terminal Velocity, but each one has ground targets that must be destroyed. Of course, they're all heavily guarded, but they can yield power-ups when they explode.
You can also fly under the planet's surface in tunnels, which are great places to find power-ups. The tunnels can be treacherous, but you're usually rewarded with restored shields and extra fuel for your afterburner.
The last of each mission's 3 parts always end with a boss. Bosses are usually pretty tough, but the ones here are actually
Man, it's like someone gave a bicorn sentience. I
But they're
know,
still fun.
right?
Some bosses are only vulnerable in certain areas, and some have support structures like shield generators that must be destroyed first.
Maybe 3D Realms is a little gun-shy after seeing how much pain Descent's bosses cost everyone.
That could be, but if so, I still think they went a little too far in the other direction.
The only real problem I have with Terminal Velocity is its graphics.
What's wrong with the graphics?
Nothing until you get the registered version. Then you're able to play the game with high-detail texture maps and SVGA graphics. Of course, doing this requires 16 megs of RAM, which is a little steep for most of us.
And they don't really look any better than the old VGA graphics. There's practically no difference. Registering Terminal Velocity is well worth the money, just don't expect improved graphics in the bargain.
Even without high-res graphics, Terminal Velocity is one hell of a fun arcade game. If you've ever given up on a flight sim because it's too much work for your entertainment, then this is the game you should be playing.
Everybody should play Terminal Velocity. It should be a law. If you don't like Terminal Velocity, you're obviously a demented, dried-up hack who doesn't know how to have fun. You know, a flight sim addict.
Okay, but what are the pros?
Your fighter is extremely simple to operate and is remarkably maneuverable, making Terminal Velocity perform like a flight sim without making you read a huge manual. The action never lets up, making Terminal Velocity an intense game from start to finish.
And the cons?
Although always interesting in design, the bosses are a little easier than they ought to be. Running the game in high graphics mode requires 16 megs of RAM and offers very little improvement in the game's visuals.
16 whole ass megs. So we should also try Descent, Wing Commander series, and of course, Star Crusader. Okay, done. Time for The Darkening.
While I usually cringe at the term interactive movie, when Origin Systems
All right, better add this
mean
to the
it.
list.
The Origin Interactive Movie label has thus far graced two excellent products, Wing Commander 3 and Bioforge. But if you talk to Aaron Roberts, like we did, you'll get a very different opinion. Aaron, the younger brother of Chris Wing Commander Roberts, thinks that we have yet to see a real interactive movie from the Austin Company, although the time is coming soon. According to Aaron, the true potential of the forum will be unlocked for the first time with Wing Commander 4: The Price of Freedom and his upcoming project, The Darkening. In The Darkening, the player takes the role of an amnesiac from another world. He's discovered on the planet Cryos, still locked in a cryosleep capsule after the explosion of his home ship a long time ago.
And he's basically revived in hospital. All they know about him is he's been in the cryopod for, longer than the 10-year period. And basically the idea is you have to find out who you are and what happened, and then also explore the universe you're in.
This would seem to be a pretty straightforward game plot, except that this isn't a linear adventure. It's actually an open-ended exploration and trading game in the spirit of Privateer and the Elite series.
You basically have a huge sort of universe out there which you can explore. You can go anywhere, any place you like. You have a number of different planets to go to actually go and meet different people, different civilizations. You can choose just to trade between planets.
Yeah, I did like when the magazine slogan was, forget reading.
Lots of different types of missions for people. You can just fly around and meet people.
While you start the game with a pretty basic ship and the barest resources, you can build your cash level by taking on various missions from the people you encounter. As your funds increase, you can buy upgrades or better ships, which let you accomplish more difficult things.
In this game also, any ship you can see, any fighter you can see, you can buy and fly. There's obviously loads of different equipment you can buy and so forth. So 25, 26 different ships you can fly in the game. And also there's a lot of lots of different types of equipment, upgrades, and obviously there's items and ships which you only find if you meet certain people, they give them to you, or you do certain things as well.
So how does this mesh with the amnesia plot? Well, it doesn't always fit like a glove, but the good news is it doesn't have to.
Basically, the idea is you're following the track of clues to the end, of basically who you are. So you may pick up some information which takes you to another planet, but we don't say go to this mission, we'll give you more information. It's like take off, you go where you want, and you can follow up that clue straight away, or you can just go off and do some sort of other thing. You might meet someone else more interesting and they have something else they want you to do which has got nothing to do with your history, or you could just go and trade to get some more money.
Most games of the interactive movie ilk have followed in the tradition of some really overblown Hollywood genre. Star Wars-y sci-fi, gory horror, outrageous action. The Darkening seems poised to carve out its own distinct niche. The planetary plot is mixed well with a mostly European cast. The most prominent names involved are Christopher Walken, John Hurt, David Warner, Amanda Pays, Brian Blessed, David McCallum, and Jürgen Prochnow. You wouldn't usually see this kind of cast list outside of an art house flick.
We're trying to encourage people who maybe wouldn't play games to come and actually buy and play this product, because try and entice some of the people who go and see films with John Hurt and Christopher Walken in, but maybe wouldn't buy a game. What you have to do is you have to make an interface which is very user-friendly and takes a player, only a few minutes to get involved in the game. Because if you're a game player, you'll mess around for half an hour to an hour to understand how it works. If you're not a game player, you'll give it 5 minutes and then that's it. So what we've done is we've invested a lot of time in creating an interface which is very user-friendly, and it's very intuitive in the way you use it, and also cosmetically.
I guess Brian Blessed.
Well.
The darkening was very much designed in the form of a feature film, as the storyboards testify. The digital video was recorded at London's Pinewood Studios, which is one of the major filming locations for Frank Zappa's 200 Motels, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and many more great movies.
Okay.
Aaron wants to make it clear that the darkening is not just some weird British thing with the Origin label slapped
Not
on.
some weird British thing.
On Commanders, on Strike Commander, on Privateer. And so it's really basically I'm bringing my knowledge from this, and actually this concept originated when I was working at Origin and then brought it over to England.
Look for the darkening in March of '96.
Okay, let's do the darkening. All right, we've got Virtual Pool.
So, Interplay has a new game out called Virtual Pool. I know a lot of you are saying, big deal.
That's what I'm saying.
Big deal.
Well, it is a big deal. Virtual Pool is an incredible game, and the most accurate lifelike sports simulation I've ever seen on a computer.
That's real nice of you to say, but I don't see how it can compete with my all-time favorite game, Trick Shot, for the Atari 2600.
You actually liked that game?
I thought it had a lot of character.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
What's wrong with having a lot of character? My dad has a lot of character.
Here's one for you. Virtual Pool uses the correct number of balls for each game. That means a game of 9 balls will have 9 balls, and a game of 8 ball, straight pool, or rotation will have 15. Not 3 like Trick Shot.
Some people like the 3-ball approach. It's much less intimidating.
How about the fact that Virtual Pool's physics model is incredibly accurate, that the balls perform just as they would in real life?
Realism is a very overhyped feature. Pac-Man isn't realistic. I rest my case.
When you set up a shot in Virtual Pool, you can view the table from any angle. You simply move the table's pivot point to wherever you like, and from there you can move in true 3D to find the best angle.
See, that's how Trick Shot will beat this game every time. It has a top view.
Yeah, and that's all it has.
That's my point. In pool, if you're looking at the wrong angle, you're gonna blow the shot. When there's only one angle, that's one less mistake you can make.
When you actually take your shot, you hold down the S key and stroke the Q with your mouse. The speed of the stroke governs the force of the shot, making Virtual Pool's interface very similar to playing an actual game of pool. What do you say to that?
Well, crappy joysticks with orange buttons are just way cool.
Virtual Pool even includes its own online host. There are a lot of digital movies to be played, and the best of them feature the great Machine Gun Lou Butera. The quality of those video clips is outstanding. And Machine Gun Lou has some playing tips that will quickly improve your game.
Oh, that's just what I need, a professional pool shark to make me look bad.
Virtual Pool
An animated
also
history of
includes the
pool.
history of the sport, from its English origins as a lawn sport. There are also descriptions of each game you can play and an online tutorial. These are shown as digitized video clips from the game itself. These aren't as good as Machine Gun Lou's clips, but they sure beat a manual.
You see, no game for the 2600 was ever accused of being loaded down with shovelware.
I never said it was shovelware.
Oh, that's not the way I heard it, buddy. You just can't mess with perfection.
The only real flaw I can find in Virtual Pool, and this is nitpicking, is the computer opponents. You have 9 of them to choose from, but all of them are capable of making bank shots and combos, and they all know how to get good cue ball placement. The easier ones miss more often, but that's the only real difference.
So you admit that Virtual Pool is feeble and inferior. You never heard anyone badmouth the computer opponent in Trick Shot.
Yeah, that's because they were too busy complaining about everything else. Virtual Pool has to be played to be believed. Its accuracy and power is stunning. The graphics are great, especially in SVGA. The sounds are realistic, and it plays just like a dream. It's right up there with Lynx 386 as one of the best sport games of all time.
Trick Shot still gets my vote.
Why? Name one thing Trickshot has going for it that Virtual Pool isn't 1,000 times better at.
Does Virtual Pool have a shiny silver label?
Yeah, it's called the CD.
Yeah, but that's part of the disc. It isn't actually a label, is it?
No.
Well, there you are then.
All right, that's Virtual Pool. But what are the pros of Virtual Pool?
The graphics and sound are great. The ball physics are incredibly accurate, and there's no limit to the amount of angles you can approach a shot from. The mouse-driven interface is very natural and offers a great deal of control. In addition to the game, much of the multimedia extras are of extremely high quality and are very informative.
And the cons?
You have a choice of 9 computer opponents, but even the easiest ones have a firm grasp on the fine art of pool. They miss frequently, but are a little too knowledgeable about the game.
We should also try Lynx 386 Pro CD, Front Page Sports Football, and NBA Live 95. Next up, Werewolf versus Comanche.
Novalogic has just released Werewolf vs. Comanche and...
That's
Comanche.
right, I saw it during the Saturday matinee last week. No one will be admitted during the last 10 minutes of Werewolf vs. Comanche.
No. I know it sounds like a bad horror movie from the 60s, but Werewolf vs. Comanche is the sequel to the very popular helicopter game, Comanche.
Oh yeah, that's the simulation.
Well, it wasn't really a simulator. It was called a simulator, but was actually more arcade-style action than anything.
Novalogic has called Werewolf vs. Comanche a simulation too. Has anything been changed?
Not at all. In fact, they're probably going to catch more flack for putting the word simulation into the manual and on the box. But as it is, these games are still lots of fun, lots of action, and lots of great graphics. Werewolf vs. Comanche is actually 2 games together in one package. One CD is the 2.0 version of Comanche. It has the look and feel of the original, but it has a bunch of brand new scenarios.
The other CD is the new Werewolf game, which is almost exactly the same thing as Comanche, except now you're flying the Werewolf, an assault helicopter of Russian design. The look and play is just like Comanche. It does have some slight differences in flight characteristics, but otherwise the only real difference is the look of the cockpit.
One extra is that the Werewolf voiceovers have Russian accents.
Rally to checkpoint.
Nice touch.
For you folks not familiar with the Comanche, this is a helicopter designed by the Army to take out armored ground targets, as well as airborne threats.
The actual name for it is the RAH-66 Comanche, and it comes armed with a turreted 20mm Gatling gun, AGM-114 Hellfires, AIM-92 Stinger missiles, and a 70mm rocket. It's designed to be the most lethal helicopter in existence.
Its main competition is the Ka-50 Kamoff Hokum helicopter, affectionately known as the Werewolf. The weapons it uses work exactly as they do on the Comanche, but are named a bit differently. Standard on the Werewolf are a turreted 30mm cannon, Vickers laser-guided missiles.
Yeah,
Archer
there's been way
air-to-air
more
heat
Tim
seeking
Allen this
missiles, and
episode.
80mm rocket. Tactile and tax not included. Supplies may be limited. Some restrictions may apply.
You stinking Americans with your video games on your MTV.
Russian pilot also not included.
Both games use the same game engine, which features Novalogic's patented
and oh so cool
voxel space technology.
What is voxel space technology anyways?
I have absolutely no idea, but it sure does make things look nice. The terrain is very realistic looking, allowing the players to get right down into the trenches or fly in between narrow mountain passes.
But even though the terrain is very realistic looking, again, don't expect these games to be helicopter simulations. They act like helicopters, but they lack the complete feel to be classified as simulations.
If you run into the side of a mountain, even at high speed, you'll take damage, but you won't crash. There's no counter-rotation ability if your engines are destroyed, and the basic flight dynamics aren't as strict or demanding as they are on a real chopper.
So, a slap on the wrist to Novalogic for trying to pass these off as simulations, even after what they went through on the original Comanche about the same thing.
But simulation or not, these games are plain fun.
Novalogic did put in a great new feature which makes these games even more fun than before. In the original Comanche, if you ran out of fuel or weapons, you were just plain out of luck.
Good sound
But
effects.
now there are helipads which serve as refueling, rearming, and repair points for your chopper.
All you have to do is land on these bases and your crew comes to your rescue. Keep in mind that the more attention your chopper needs, the more time you'll have to stay on the ground, which means you're vulnerable to attack.
If trouble should rear its ugly head at any time during servicing, you can take off with whatever weapons and fuel your crew was able to get into your chopper.
The real reason Novalogic has released these two games together is because they are now multiplayer capable.
The games are fun on an individual level, but get really intense when other human players are flying around.
You can play over the modem or on a network in any combination of 8 players in Werewolves and Comanches. And networking a game has never been easier.
Just load up the games on a computer that's on a network, choose the multiplayer function from the menu, and that's it. The game takes care of everything else.
It ran perfectly on the network, no problems whatsoever. Even we non-techies here at IE had no problems with it.
The only problem I found was that there was no talk feature. You can't send messages to each other, so unless you're within speaking distance of the other player, there's no way to set up strategies or tactics.
Multiplayer mode is a lot like Doom, in that if a player is killed, they are reset back at their home base, ready to go again.
So while in the single-player mode, when you die, you have to restart the entire scenario. In multiplayer mode, the scenario continues until a mission goal is reached.
When you play in teams, accomplishing a mission goal means taking out all of the assigned bad guys. But when 2 or more humans play against each other, things get a little more interesting.
The ground forces are set up as 2 opposing armies, with the players being assigned to one side or the other depending on which helicopter they're flying.
The objective is not to kill the other human, but to take out the opposing army's forces before the other guy takes out your forces. Of course, when one army is destroyed, a screen comes up with how many times everyone was killed, but it isn't the main goal.
If just 2 people are playing, team play is the most fun. But when more than 2 people go at it, it's definitely a lot of fun to set up against each other. That way, special team strategies can be used.
So, should you buy this package if you already own Comanche? If you want a lot of new scenarios, this is a good package, but don't expect anything radically different when playing the werewolf.
If you want to hook up with other players,
I really do wish this was werewolves versus helicopters, but you know, we can't have it all.
That made the original very popular.
But once again, don't expect a hardcore simulation because these games simply weren't designed to be that way. Just ignore the box and the manual on this point.
But it's super fun. The new little features add a lot to this game, and the multiplayer ability is an excellent addition. Racing games have always been very popular, but
we need the pros and cons, buddy.
The multiplayer ability rocks. The helipads are a much welcome addition, and adding in the werewolf helicopter is a lot of fun.
And the cons?
If you already have Comanche, there's not much of a real reason to buy this new package if you aren't going to play against other humans. Also, the lack of a talk function really hampers the multiplayer mode.
We should also try Comanche, CD, Apache, and Gunship 2000. Okay, we got 2 left. It's time for Whiplash.
Racing games have always been very popular, but some of them are a little complicated. For instance, NASCAR Racing is a great title, but some gamers may be put off by the high degree of technical difficulty, such as tire temperatures and stagger. Interplay is looking to get into the low technical end of this market with Whiplash, an action-intensive game that is very easy to learn and play, but has accurate car characteristics and tracks that are, to say the least, unique. Even though this is an Interplay game, Whiplash has been designed by Gremlin, the same guys that brought us Slipstream 5000. In fact, it appears as though the same graphics engine used in Slipstream has been used in Whiplash. This engine is perfect for racing games, providing a highly detailed environment that has the ability to make the player really feel like he's moving quickly through 3D surroundings. Whiplash is a straight-ahead racing game. There are 8 cars to choose from, each being rated in a variety of categories like braking, acceleration, and top speed. These are fictional vehicles from fictional companies, but they do have realistic attributes and handling characteristics. What really makes Whiplash special are the tracks. You'll have the opportunity to race on relatively normal tracks with the obligatory hairpin turns and hills, but Whiplash features things like loops and corkscrews. There was even a tilted jump that barrel rolls your car in midair before you touch down. Anything goes on the tracks featured in this game, which range from an average track that might be found in real life to fantasy tracks that could only be found on a PC. One very arcade attribute of Whiplash is that the player can die during the race.
That's so cool!
On a bar graph that increases along with the amount of damage. The
You
more
can
your damage,
die?
the worse your car will perform, not to mention the smoke and flames that will make it difficult to see while driving around. When the damage meter is maxed out, you blow up. Fortunately, Whiplash allows the player to determine the degree of damage that you can suffer during each race. Each player has 3 cars to use and abuse on each track, but taking on damage doesn't mean you have to keep it. On certain parts of each track, there is a pit stop area where you can stop your car and get quick repairs. These zones are usually located on the side of the track or in an alternate racing path. It's a quick and easy process which keeps the focus of the game on the racing action. Whiplash isn't overlooking those smaller features which often make the difference between an average and a great game. When you're looking over each vehicle, you see basic information and hear a nice female voice narrating additional information on each car. And during each race, an ultra-hyper announcer lets you know if you're coming up on a stunt and how many laps are left. He's very fond of screaming when you go through a corkscrew or a loop. The designers have also thrown in lots of virtual camera angles to either race with or to watch while you replay your race. And speaking of replaying the race, the player will also be able to do his or her own video editing through functions that can be used to clip and paste together series of racing highlights for later viewing. And when you're doing the kind of high-flying stunts featured in Whiplash, you'll have plenty of scenes you'll want to save. Extra features like secret cars and tracks are planned to be in the final version, which will allow up to 16 players on a network. Whiplash will not be the most original game out there, but it's designed to be a fast, furious, and most of all, fun racing game with a very low learning curve, so the player can start it up and start racing immediately. Whiplash's planned release date is sometime in December.
Last but not least, it's time for Witch Haven.
Okay.
Oh God, it's Capstone. Never mind. Everybody go. Go home.
Hey, we're on. Oh, hey folks, we're taking a look at Witch Haven, the new fantasy action role-playing game from Capstone.
Well, we were taking a look at it, but it really got me nostalgic for my paper and pencil role-playing days, so I dug out my old AD&D rule books for a little one-on-one with my associate here.
Yeah, you folks don't mind, do you? We're professionals. We can do two things at once. Oh, jeez.
What? What's the matter?
What's the matter? You just spilled your Diet Coke all over my palette, and I gotta draw up a whole new character now.
Wow, it's eating through the floor.
Anyway, Capstone is not exactly a company with a spotless
Oh,
reputation,
no.
but they've been promising
Oh,
gold
chat,
on it.
no.
I have to admit, I was a little skeptical. Do you have another six-sider?
Yeah, but you'll have to get it out of the Yahtzee box. But Witch Haven really lives up to its potential. Fantastic graphics, challenging gameplay, and a whole new take on Doom Clone Fever.
I got a pocket full of quarters and I'm headed to the arcade. Hey, can we use the cup too?
Sure, why not? Sounds cool.
In Witch Haven, the player is skulking through a haunted medieval castle trying to remove its curse by killing everything in sight.
Not the most original gameplay concept in the universe, but there are some nice subtleties added in. Are you gonna roll some scores or just sit there all day?
Keep your shade on. At first, all the combat is hand-to-hand. No rocket launchers here, baby. You gotta look 'em in the eye when you take their life.
There's a whole different strategy to this kind of close quarters fighting. You have to time your swing properly and get the heck out of the way when they time theirs. Ooh, a 3. That's gotta hurt.
Nah, I'll just drop it out. We're rolling by method 2, right?
Well, the more things you kill, the more experience points you get. Eventually, you'll go up a level, just like in D&D.
Check it out. 2 18s in a row.
Hey, Yahtzee Plus! As you go up in experience levels, you do more damage when you attack. You can also store more health, but your hit points don't automatically go up. You have to find enough health potions to take advantage of this.
You also start to gain weapon proficiencies that let you attack with more than one weapon at a time. You'll be able to come at your enemy with both a dagger and a sword.
I think that's what's known as getting medieval on his ass.
Watch your mouth, buddy. This is a family magazine.
No, it isn't.
There are also spell scrolls scattered throughout the dungeon. I mean castle. Experience levels affect magic, too. Each spell has a set level needed for casting, and many of them have improved effects on higher levels. Some of them even use that old standby, the saving throw. Resist or die.
Yeah, fireballs are fun like that. But you're not finished with your rolling here, buddy.
What, you mean hit points?
You can't do your hit points until you know what class you are. I'm talking basic attributes.
But I've got 6 numbers. Strength, intelligence, wisdom.
You're forgetting comeliness.
Oh, you want to play it that way, huh? Just for that, I get to be a cavalier.
Well, time out on the character stuff, man. We need to talk about the graphics, and it deserves our full attention.
You're right. All the monsters are digitized clay sculptures animated with stop-motion techniques, just like in Primal Rage.
And Jason of the Argonauts.
And Clash of the Titans. The characters' hands are visible down at the bottom of the screen, holding whatever weapon and shield you have handy. And they're digitized, too. It's incredibly sharp stuff.
And it's even sharper in SVGA. But you have to have a pretty potent piece of machinery for it to play smoothly in high resolution.
Better than a P60. Maybe better than a P100.
Like almost every other first-person action game, Witch Haven has an auto map.
E-I-E-I-O.
And on that auto map, it has a feature.
E-I-E-I.
Okay, the joke is worn thin. The map is transparent and overlaid on the action like in Dark Forces.
That way no one will come up and clobber you while you're trying to figure out where the heck you are.
But in Witch Haven, the map also rotates so that you're always facing up, and you can grow or shrink the scale on the fly.
Bob Grimthwacker. How does that sound for a name? Bob Grimthwacker.
Sorry, folks. His attention span has lapsed.
You know, now that I think about it, 2 people is not quite enough to play a satisfying game of AD&D, is it?
No, not really. Witch Haven also has a multiplayer mode, and it gets a lot better as you get more people into it. With a network setup, you can have up to 16 people playing at once.
And while it's possible to take the deathmatch approach,
16 people playing a capstone game at once sounds like a group harm behavior. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be doing that.
There are 7 and 21-point modes and lots of cool locations, like Stonehenge here.
Yeah, Witch Haven is really good by any standard, but as a capstone game, it's really outstanding.
Mind you, it's not perfect.
Yeah, there's a few minor annoyances, like the lack of a quick save feature. It would also have been a good thing.
See ya, shadowy stranger.
Artifacts were included. I mean, the D&D.
I'll be looking at good capstone games while you're
They can
gone.
take care of that in the sequel.
Oh boy.
D&D, I'm ready and raring to go, compadre.
Okay, but I can't believe you're playing a cavalier named Bob.
All right, let's find the pros.
Capstone has broken its curse. This is not just eye candy, it's also a genuinely new twist on the Doom-style shooter. And it's
I don't believe it.
Addictive fun. When your experience gets high enough, you can wield a sword in one hand and a throwing axe in the other, or just put them both away and cast a nuke spell. This is a must for the D&D crowd.
Maybe they're good. Listen, I've just been burned by Capstone so many times. What are the
While
cons?
the Doom standard interface reigns supreme, saving games is a tad awkward. Also, while the game uses a lot of basic concepts from pen and paper role-playing, the spells and artifacts are very limited by comparison. How many spells are in Magic Carpet 2 again?
We should also try Heretic, Rise of the Triad, and the Doom Saga. Done and done. All right, let's go to the front page and let's get our asses out of here. That is this issue of Interactive Entertainment in the books. Done. Exit.
Episode 19 of Interactive Entertainment was so much fun, we'd like to get back together with you real soon. When we do, keep an eye out for our preview of Wing Commander 4 from Origin. Mark Hamill, Malcolm McDowell, and the rest of the gang from Wing 3 are all back and ready to save the universe once again. Interplay has been insisting for 3 years that Stonekeep really does exist. Finally, gamers are going to get a chance to see the Ballyhoot RPG. We'll let you know whether or not Interplay was wasting its time. SSI has a well-earned reputation as a company that knows how to make war games. Climb into a tank with us and we'll take a tour of their latest effort, Steel Panthers. And Legend Entertainment has been hard at work putting the final touches on Mission Critical, a sprawling space adventure that won't look like any other Legend game you've ever played. We'll tell you whether or not the mission was a success. And as always, see you next time, Cyberfans.
See you next time, Cyberfans. What? Excuse me. Sorry. There we go. Yeah. All right, folks, and that's another issue done. Da 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 Xena da 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 da. Magambo, I just finished streaming. All right, so next week I'm going to be doing a American Truck Simulator stream. We're still taking, and then I'm going to take the week after that off. So do look forward to that. And yeah, me and Sardis, we're taking some time off. So we're chilling. We're just chilling. So yeah, I'll see y'all next week. It'll be American Truck Simulator and some tapes. Hope you enjoy it. And yeah, let me find someone to raid. We have people I'm actually following, please. Okay. How? I'm not following half of these people. Let's see. How about, it's been a while, how about Proxy Glitch Cat? Let's give a raid. Proxy covers portable games, and I'm a big fan of portables, so let's give Proxy a raid here.
I'm the king of multimedia.
I am the king of multimedia. Thank you all so very much, folks, for watching. I'll see you next Tuesday, same time, same channel. See you then. Bye-bye.